Hello.
Hey.
Hey, baby. Today is the 13th of June 2022, 7 minutes to 1 o'clock in the day, right? Are you with me?
Yes.
You happy, girl?
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
You feel stress?
No.
No, everything okay. I mean, I'm making a recording now just to put clarity into what really happens three years ago. You know, we don't look back that much. I mean, when we live life together, would you say that we go and we grind this and argue about what happened, or are we living life normally and lovingly?
I think it's a normal life for the family we live
Yeah.
together, no fighting and just
We have a good time, right? We enjoy our life, could say, right? And try work to do the best we can with it, isn't it? So why am I sitting interviewing my wife in the kitchen? I will give you some background there, okay? 95, I met the first love of my life in Västerås. We moved to Gothenburg and we had 3 children together. First come Liv, second come Tuva, third come Vilgot. We lived together over 20 years. And my love at the time got cancer. And she lived with cancer for 10 years and passed away 2018. So 2016 I moved out because we had discussed and we figured we need to find a healthy environment for our kids, to kind of get a fresh start and not have to spend time in the apartment where mama had such a big footprint, so to speak. So I moved out to Landvetter, and we had there were no discussion about like shared custody. It was more like the kids can come and be wherever they want. It was very open and understanding, so to speak. And I would say, looking back, they were 50-50 at my place and 50-50 at her place. So why I'm saying this? So 2017, I had met a new woman in my life. I met her in Thailand when I was out traveling, and we fell in love. She had a son with a Thai man already. Her son's name, Nano, became my bonus son. She came to Sweden 2017, and we had a mutual son together that year. He was born in July. So there was a huge integration going on, where my wife was learning Sweden, learning Swedish environment. You know, coming from Thailand is quite a big difference in regards to how we live and how she was used to living. And my children work to integrate themselves into a family with a replacement mama, so to speak, and had the expectations of their own. And I was the one that kind of tried to hold everything together, try to make everyone happy in this. After all, it was my effort of having my family. So But everyone wasn't pleased, you know. My family members, they struggled with their thoughts and emotions, in the sense of they did not get enough attention. So my the background to this video and this episode of Upl is kind of shed light on what were to happen 2019, 2 years after we've been living together. I was laying in bed and reading a book for Vilgot. He had finished school early and we were having a cozy time, so to speak. And it knocks on the door, apartment door, and I go open and I see 3 grave looking faces that say that they're gonna take custody of my children. And they had already been at school to take care of Tuva and Liv,
Vilgot's older sisters.
I mean, this didn't come out of the blue, of course. I knew that there was an investigation going on. So I will give you social services had an investigation on the family. So I will give you a quick review on why that was. One of the reasons was that a friend of Tuva had told her mother, who called social services with concerns about that my daughter was cutting herself in the arm, showing self-destructive behavior. And I went to social services, listened to them, talked about my concerns about it, and kind of found an agreement. But it was more about social services convincing me that it is nothing to worry about, no concern. You know, there's a lot of work having to explain yourself, you know. I was quite tired during that walk and talk, so I figured I summarize things for you more quickly to save us both some time. The second pin, the second worry report, relates to my daughter Liv. She had since 2011 been visiting BUP, a child psychiatric unit, to cope with the fact that her mother was dying in cancer. She had been visiting them on a monthly basis in periods where she felt that this is good for me, where she felt that she found kind of a foothold, so to speak. So there was a lot of confidence and trust that she built up to BUP over the years. I supported that at that time. I felt that if it's helped her, if she feels good about it, I'm okay with it. But one day, 2019, BUP have called for me to discuss Liv's situation. So I went to this meeting, and the meeting ended halfway, I should say, with me leaving the meeting very politely, saying that the path to well-being does not come from her lecturing me about how to be a good papa in front of my child, but rather from the practice of yoga and meditation. And this she got very upset about. And I just reached home before I got a phone call from her where she told me she had filed a worry report to social services about how I am unfit as a parent. So that was the second pin. The third pin relates to the integration process that was going on with my wife and her integration journey into Sweden. She came 2017 and we had it really good going, so to speak. I would say all the way to 2019 or mid 2018, everything was working very smoothly. The closer we get to 2019, signs of depression started to show. She kind of struggled to fit into the picture, so to speak.
I mean, she got angry for the smallest of things, and often projected this anger towards things around her. Many times my own children. She threw stuff, and suddenly she could get angry and then just run out into the forest, and be gone for hours, and me circulating the area with the car trying to find her, acting very compulsively. She was applying silent treatment, not talking to anyone in the family, even if spoken to. One day she asked me to drive her to the police station. She had packed all her bags and she said to me she had enough and now she's going. And I drive her to police station, and it was a Sunday, I think, and it was closed everywhere. But she sat on the pavement with Nano and the suitcases for many hours before she called me to come and pick her up again. It's kind of difficult to live with someone that is highly compulsive, so to speak. I mean, for me, her behavior is not new at all. I've seen it before. The mother of my children that I lived with for 20 years before I met Sutisa, she was also depressed. So it kind of, what I had came to learn is like, if you show acceptance and tolerance into this process and kind of hold on to your own integrity, so to speak, it kind of, life finds its way and things are resolved. So even though she had these lows, so to speak, she was very quickly back at her feet. I would say Sutisa's lows worked as a vent for her, a vent to ventilate her frustration, a way to express the turbulence that was going on inside her. After these things happened, everything got back to normal again for a couple of days or for a few weeks. So this, her erratic behavior kind of escalated to the point in 2019, only a month or so before social services knocked on my door, in the sense of that she tried to commit suicide. I wasn't home at the time, but my children were, and her children were. I came home and I found her in the bed, and we had an argument. So I was out walking and came back and sat down to kind of make amends with her, talk to her about things, to put some balance in. And it took quite some time before I noticed that she was not responding. So, and I found a empty jar of Thai sleeping pills and a pill on the floor. And it led to, I called the ambulance, we went to the hospital, we emptied her stomach. My kids had to stay at home. I took Nano with me to the hospital, and he was completely devastated. In Sweden, it is a routine for people working at hospital that if someone tries to kill themselves, so to speak, to commit suicide, they automatically, of course, file a report to social services. She was also taken into a psychiatric ward. She stayed at the psychiatric unit for 2 weeks to kind of get her mind set together, so to speak. During this time, social called me, kind of were very pushy, saying to me like, you see, this not working for you at all. What is going on, and what is your plan now? How do you think this is gonna work, and stuff like that. Had their view on how things were, a very fragmented view, and it was very clear to me that the kind of information they had was so tiny, and they were kind of fishing for more information at the same time pushing with the conclusions of the tiny information they had. If you have worries, it should be originate from a worry. And so I made it very clear to them that when they said that they were gonna escalate, take the next step in the investigation process and come to interview all the family members, I understood the kind of workload and the path where that would lead. So I said that well, I will not participate in this circus, because I viewed everything to be very socially compulsive. You know, because I I knew everyone in my family, okay? I knew my 3 children from when they were born. I know people or life situations enough to understand that this would just fly very well if you don't make it complex, if you don't stir a stew when you're not supposed to. Yes. Social services started to talk to a lot of people. They started with the relatives, which mainly means my mother. She is 80 years old and lives 777 kilometers away from where I was living with my family in Landvetter. She visited us once, 2017, where she partly stayed at the hotel since we had a lack of living space. And we visited them as a family together with Sutesa. During our vacation, I took the full family driving through Norway to see the mountain range, where we checked into my parents' summer house for a week or 2. I mean, when I talked to my mother regarding her conversation with social services, she described it as a casual talk over the phone. She mentioned that she once had seen that Vilgot, when I was living in the central city in Gothenburg and she was visiting, she had seen on a weight curve from BBC how Vilgot had dipped slightly on this weight curve. And this was something that was of no worries to us. We were very aligned with the BBC at the time. So it was more of a natural evolution thing. But this is something that social services have picked up in their reports, as if I starve my children. I mean, even though they made a home visit where I acted as a kind of guide to show social services around the apartment to where we lived in Landvetter, I showed how everyone had food, we had clean water, warmth, roof over their head, everyone had their own beds. I showed them how we had a 200-liter filled up freeze box full of food, a 200-liter refrigerator also full of food. I showed how everyone had their toys and literature. I mean, the place where we lived was the ideal place for children. We lived at a huge farm with horses and had a forest outside the doors, with walking distance to anything you would need. I also told social services how I commonly arranged extra space if someone needed privacy for homework. And there was a space where this was a possibility next door in an office building. I mean, I had for 18 years been a high earner and the only provider for my family. In fact, I have never lived with a partner that have worked and brought in much money.
If you look back at our time together in Landvetter, we had family entertainment of all kinds. All generations of Xbox, PlayStations, iPads, multiple computers, and everyone in the family had their own iPhone, starting from an early age. I also sponsored everyone with their hobbies when they showed interest. I put Nano and Vilgot to play in the same football team and later indoor bandy, covering all expenses, and drove them back and forth to their games. Their practice facilities was within walking distance from home. Social services did not talk to any one of the hundreds of connections I have built up following working for over 20 years in Gothenburg professionally. They did not talk to any references. Social services also talk to community officials, teachers, doctors, and the childcare units, and my landlord. If I look at it, since I became a parent, I've always had good relationships with these instances. I was the one to handle these obligations, such as dentist appointments or development meetings in school, mainly because I was the one with the driver's license, but also because I was the one most socially fit from a well-being and or cultural perspective. I worked actively to get Sutisa to participate in meetings concerning Nano, but many times she wanted me to handle it. I should say that I have come to look at most of these obligations as an inherited legacy that everyone does without contemplating on the actual value it brings. As a father of 5, oldest being 16, these meetings don't need introduction to me, and you come to sit through most of these meetings smiling and nodding, isn't it? You, however, have to get kids to school or daycare, which was something I handled, while simultaneously working to teach them how to take the bus. I grew up walking 2 kilometers every day to school and back, starting at an age of 7. This was considered normal back then, but while today it's a cruel thing. Social services also talked to my wife. Following this, my life came to change. The content of the social report came to accuse me of being a monster, a human trafficker. As you now have come to learn, there are accusations hanging over me. Let's hold these accusations side by side with actual reality to see if and how these match. It is always a slight dilemma to prove your own innocence. Whatever I come to display in this movie as a counterclaim to the accusation can easily be dismissed as if I only show you what I want you to see, much as social services themselves did in their reports, and that later led to that they were granted custody of my family by court. For social services, it was just a matter of piling up the right kind of garbage. I mean, I can show you thousands of photos from our family's everyday life, but honestly, what would you know? I mean, what does pictures and video clips say anyway? So, to get closer to an objective perspective, I must put myself aside completely. I must also invite you to take part of interpersonal communication in between me and Sutisa. I am to deliver a lot of information now, enough for you to make an impartial judgment, as the approach also invites you to read between the lines. I have compiled all Facebook Messenger communications I've had with Sutisa on a day-by-day basis during the period of September 2016 to August 2019. I present pictures, videos and chat logs, all taken straight out from our Messenger conversations, one after another, without exceptions or personal preference involved. It will give you an idea if I am, as social services in Härryda depicts me, a human trafficker or not. The reason me and Sutisa send pictures to each other might not need explanation, but sometimes when I shot the picture and her seeing it, she wanted it on her phone too, and vice versa. We also send pictures to show that we are there for each other and what we are currently up to. Sometimes when Sutisa sends me a message while I'm in the car, for example, I can respond back with a picture of the road, just to show her I'm busy driving. You get the idea. I serve you fragments of actual reality, allowing you to make a better job than the social secretaries did. All resources are in chronological order and tied to the date as indicated in the calendar to the right on the screen. You also get to see whom of us is sending. Pictures sent by Sutisa is framed in yellow, while pictures sent by me is framed in blue. This provides a way for you to anchor what is seen to me and Sutisa as separate individuals. Chat logs are shared and such borderless. So the resources presented illustrates everyday life, our communication with each other, and the nature of our relationship. Together, these builds a story of our living reality. In comparison to me choosing images out from our photo gallery during this time interval, this method of presentation is far less subjective. That is, our life and daily communication comes to determine what is shown. There will sometimes be a high pace between pictures due to the limited time we have and the amount of pictures communicated, but feel free to use the pause button. Regarding censorship, I have been strict and not removed anything. As for chat logs, I will display text snippets from Messenger between me and Sutisa with an average of 1 to 7 days intervals in between each chat during 2016 and 2019. They are written in Swedish a few times, but we use emotes a lot, so if you're English speaking, you are likely to get the picture anyway. The chat snippets I show are consciously chosen to illustrate three aspects of our relationship. That Sutisa was provided a loving environment to live in, that our relationship was based on care and love for each other, that she had problems with her temperament in regards to the relationship she had with my children, 10, 13 and 16 years old. The amount of information you have available by far exceeds the amount of information that any social secretary ever had access to before they came to their conclusion. The more information, the better accuracy, isn't it? I present a level of transparency few have seen in this regard, and yes, it is 3 years of communication in 30 minutes. Pulling down the resources alone took me over 100 hours. But what don't you do for your loved ones? We will start from when Sutisa's first visit to Sweden was coming to an end. She is in Sweden at the farm visiting me on a visit visum and is about to return back home to Thailand. Her 6th month is up and has to go back to Thailand where Nano was waiting for her. She had to stay in Thailand 6 months before being allowed to return to Sweden. These are border control rules. Her visit to Sweden was entirely funded by me, and I only say this because it is relevant to the story. When we start this slideshow, she is unaware of her pregnancy, and at the end of the slideshow, social services have come to put everyone but me in a protective custody. I have an apple. Apple pen. You got me jumping like... In total, these slides also serves as proof of my claims in regards to my family, so I want you to pay attention. I will begin the story. It's a true one. The 28th of August 2019, Sutisa was very upset. Me and her had very recently had an argument in a parked car. I had given her an ultimatum that ended in her abruptly stepping out of the car. I drove off back home. My ultimatum was for her to start working towards including all my family members and stop being blameful and hateful towards my children, and for her to grasp that kids are kids. I say that once every month since summer 2018 we went into arguments regarding her view on children, but this day I have had enough. My reasoning was that if she chooses to live with me, she has to accept the full package, which included my children. Her reasoning was that she hated my children and wanted to live alone with me. Her stepping out of the car this day was her way of saying no. At this time, it should be said that there have been worrying reports pouring into the social services office from my daughter's psychologist and the hospital from when Sutisa attempted suicide, so a social secretary had decided to pay us a visit this day. Well at the farm, the secretary ran into an upset Sutisa that had found her way back home. This gives the social secretary reason to drive her to a secluded parking space, where Sutisa comes to describe her family situation. Sutisa is very emotional and tells about her time at the farm. As a result, the social secretary goes back to her office and creates an actualization report. This is similar to initiating an investigation of violence within my family. What the social secretary came to write down in this paper later got copied and spread in countless of documents and come to serve as basis for all decisions that the social services come to take concerning my family as a whole. At the moment when Sutisa met with the secretary, she was scared, confused, and said things out of anger, fear, and desperation. She wanted to leave her current living situation with my children and refused to accept my terms of embracing them. She didn't have much options, nor did I. She had recently been sent back home from a psychiatric ward after staying 2 weeks there following her suicide attempt, and now she felt that she had lost me too as a result of my ultimatum. She felt alone, as if not cared for. This actualization report gives way for social services to hold interviews with Sutisa, now placed in protective custody. These interviews occurs August 28, 29 and September the 5th, 2019, all while I was walking around alone in the apartment. A stretch that came to last for more than 6 months before Sutisa one day decides to escape back to me. In countless papers produced following the actualization report, social services in Härryda concludes that I am violent, dangerous, abusive, mentally ill and psychotic. Sutisa was granted financial aid from the government to the end of the year. Sutisa comes to be moved from one protective custody to another quite frequently, since she breaks the rules of conduct of secrecy as she repeatedly reconnects with me.
This my key. We take for know about our baby. We get boy or girl. I read on internet. It look like why, baby. We can get a boy.
She is assigned a personal secretary that comes to act as a babysitter to her since she is viewed unable to cope well in the society on her own. They did not know about her past living conditions in Thailand, where she single-handedly grew up, became survival-centric at an early age, and came to raise a child on her own for 6 years in the outskirts of Bangkok. They treated her as if she didn't know how to buy a bus ticket, unaware of how she had been working many years as a bus coordinator in Bangkok. The 23rd of October 2019, Social Services signs a second-hand apartment for Sutisa. The social workers now changes focus and actively starts working to convince her to divorce me. They promise her sole custody of Alvin, our mutual son. During this time, Social Services also starts a Freda mapping. This is an attempt to map out the characteristics of the abuse she had been subject to at home. In every paper produced following this mapping event, I am listed as a violent perpetrator. Let's look closer at this Freda report just to see how violent I am. The Freda mapping event occurs the 15th of October 2019, 1.5 months after that the social secretary ran into Sutisa at the farm. The Freda mapping consists of Sutisa answering questions written on a paper and interviews.
Since Sutisa is from Thailand, a translator was also present. What Sutisa says is written down in accordance to the social secretary's opinion. According to protocol procedures, this should be then later be read and understood by Sutisa prior to finalization, but this was something that never was made since Sutisa could not read or write Swedish good enough. Let's see what the Freda report really says. It should be said that no charges towards me was ever made. I want you to ponder a bit on this.
Party, baby.
Were the accusations not within the bounds of a criminal offense? If not, what was then the cause of Sutisa and my children to be held in protective custody? Freda's mapping confirms the same thing that was written in the actualization papers, but structured in different categories. These categories are physical violence, psychological violence, neglect, and sexual violence. Regarding physical violence, Freda's conclusion has 3 lines of text where Sutisa strongly notes that Anders has never beaten her or been violent in any way. The social secretary had then informed Sutisa what exactly fits within the term violent, whereas Sutisa said that I once held her and pushed her. Well, to this I am absolutely guilty, and I would do the same thing again if ever be. No one allows uncontrolled and hateful anger where someone acts berserk in front of their own children to continue without interference. The overall time I held her was less than 4 seconds, and the push was onto the bed. I also repeatedly said to her to calm down. My daughter Liv, 16-year-old, was a witness to this incident. She can also testify to this. Regarding psychological violence, there are 25 lines of text where Freda concludes that I many times called Sutisa stupid or crazy. Well, it should be said that we still, to this day, call each other stupid and crazy, and that the other do crazy things. Mostly because there is a gap between her make sense and mine. I have never ever used these terms to violate anyone though, and nor have she. Ask yourself, who is it in the social services report who is pointed at as crazy? Further, the Freda report states that I had yelled at her and told her that she would not make it on her own without me. From when I met Sutisa 2015, I have helped her with a lot of things. When I met her, she was about to lose her house and lacked income. She was financially blacklisted with several unpaid blanco loans hanging over her. Her future in Thailand didn't look that bright at all, to be honest. From the moment I fell in love with her, I have worked actively to bring her and her child to Sweden for a fresh start. However, Sutisa is from another culture and at times dwell in what I call a la-la land. I can mention millions of examples of this, as when she told me that the stars on the sky wasn't suns with planets around them, but instead her ancestors. Or when she got furious because I told her I could impossibly give her a gold bar in Christmas gift. But I have always looked at these things as being simply uneducated, or many times as immature, inexperienced, or childish. You can say I partly felt responsible for her, as if she was a child of mine. Her childishness is, however, something that also makes me very happy in her presence. Her saying, "You think too much," for example, often reminds me about that I take life way too serious at times. During 2019, I felt that she was starting to get ungrateful in life, complaining about whatever as a burden. And at these times I wanted her to wake up and see reality the way it was. Beautiful. At these occasions, in the heat of the discussions, I told her that she wouldn't make it
without me. Little did I expect that she would listen to me as if I speak universal truth. People that know me know that I'm not a person that yells at people. I can raise my voice at times, rarely, which Sutisa classifies as screaming, but truly she has never seen me angry, and never have she heard me yell. You should see Sutisa in an emotional state, however. As for psychological violence regarding the Freda report, I had told Sutisa that she should not go to social services with her concerns. This is partly true and partly false. As you can see in the chat logs provided in this slideshow, I had no problem with her seeking help from them, and even provided her with the contact information. In a report written by the City Unit of Social Services, it says how I took initiative and drove her there when she first wanted to move out. At this time, Social Services had turned her request down for getting her own apartment since we were married, just as they did when I asked for help to get a bigger apartment a year earlier. This is all documented events, but was not in the awareness of whoever did the Freda report. At a later date, 2019, I told Sutisa that social services only will come to make hasty conclusions based on limited information that in turn will end up destroying things for her. Actually, when looking at it objectively, what social services did was to trick her away from a well-set life in Sweden as my wife, living together with my children as a full family. They not only tricked her, but indirectly tricked also our mutual son, who has now come to grow up without his siblings present. They tricked her, her son, and our mutual son, and obstructed them from integrating smoothly into our society and learn the language. Today, I have no longer any way to support her the way I could before. Anyone with intelligence can see this. The Freda report continues, stating that I had accused Sutisa of lying. This is absolutely correct, I did, since she had lied to me several times. This is also something she admits that she had done. People with an agenda of their own tend to lie if it serves their purpose. People that don't know themselves enough tend to lie at times. It springs from insecurity and fears. Even so, if someone lies to you and you are aware of this, it can be the most honest thing, isn't it? Freda continues with that I had been in control over Sutisa's economy and that Sutisa had no insight into the family economy. Well, it's clear that social services have to catch up with the term integration. That I had been in control with our economy is true, but I expect a reward rather than facing accusations. Sutisa simply didn't have an economy. She was completely dependent on me from the moment we met, and in many ways still are. Today, she don't depend on my money, but rather social services welfare money, just as me, but she still is dependent on my mind. There is not a single day I don't help her with anything from schoolwork, explaining how taxes work, or other practicalities. 2015 to 2019, I provided her with a chance to get a good life in Sweden together with her son, and I did this in a generous and polite way. I say this because I know of no other person that have given their partner or anyone else for that matter, financially and time-wise, what I have given Sutisa. Anyway, I don't look at it as if she owes me anything. You should know that when I met Sutisa, and later returned back to Sweden a few weeks later for the first time, I left her my personal Visa card behind. I did this because it provided the easiest way to immediately transfer money to her without adding transaction fees. Ask yourself, would you have done this? In Sweden, I opened a Swedbank account for her and transferred pocket money to her on a need and monthly basis. I have full transaction logs of this, which shows that between 1,000 and 2,000 krona was given to her every month from the month that she arrived to Sweden, for her to do whatever she want. No strings attached. I provided her and her son with all her needs: food, clothes, rents, travels, hotel visits, vacations, birthday and Christmas gifts, as well as paid whatever expenses or application fee that she ran into. Everything. Have your partner done this for you? Sutesa, just as any other, likes to travel. I took her on travels all over Europe. We went all over Sweden, Holland, Germany, Denmark and Norway. Pleasure trips, and sometimes as a full family of 7. But most of the times, especially during her first visit to Sweden, just me and her. Sutesa has traveled and seen more of Europe than my own 8 years old mother have. Social Services, however, writes how I had kept her isolated from the world and rarely let her out, hearing what they wanted to hear. Since Social Services stepped in 2019, however, we have been spending all our time at home, and the trip we were planning to do to Thailand 2020 for Alvin to meet his relatives got cancelled, for obvious reasons. You should know that there is not a single item purchase, trip or event seen in this slideshow that wasn't funded in full by me. Even when Sutesa goes on a shopping spree in Thailand, it's on my wallet. And I never expected anything in return. You tell me, does this qualify for financial abuse? Next, it says in the Freda report that she was working at the farm under slave-like conditions without getting any salary. At the one and only occasion that she worked at the farm, it was upon request from her, and at the time she didn't have a bank account, her own one, so we used mine. I opened Sutesa's own bank account shortly following this event, and at the same time opened accounts for my own kids and her son Nano. It should be said that during 2016 to 19, while we were living together on the farm, Sutesa didn't even work a full work week in total. Her work effort was helping the owner of a business hotel cleaning the window, who agreed to give her 3,000 krona for this. At the time, she had no problems with that the money went into my account and to cover family expenses. In fact, this was approved by her first. Both of us at the time actually found this natural, reasoning that the money anyway goes towards our mutual family interests. The 25 lines of text also states how I took care of Sutesa's post sent in her name. All mail that came to the family during these years was mainly bills or deliveries that Sutesa herself ordered online. Whenever she got post in her mail from Thailand, I never opened it, since I was raised this way. If she ever got a mail from the Swedish instance, we opened the post together, simply because she wanted me to. She didn't understand Swedish and was dependent on me to help her out with the content. Whoever have assisted a partner in integrating into their culture from a foreign culture knows better what this means. There are hundreds of hours that goes into explaining how things work. It's not a quick thing, but a lifelong commitment. Furthermore, the 25 lines of text continues stating that I have given her threatful glares with the eyes. I mean, is this even worth to comment? All my life I have been told I have kind eyes, but sure, if we were to go into an argument, I could raise my eyebrows. I let you build an opinion of my character from this movie instead. Moreover, the Freda report states that I had criticized how she handled her duties at home. And now social services are abusing me by criticizing how I handled my duties as husband, isn't it? Please understand this. Sutesa comes from another culture and climate. She had no experience of cleaning, less so cooking, had no awareness of how to dress children by weather, or even how an oven works. I also have worked as a cleaner during my youth and have different standards in regards to what cleaning means. However,
during 2016 and 19 we went into these kind of arguments very few times. I never looked at Sutusa and the fact that she was spending her days at home while I was working, accompanied with any kind of designated duty. At the same time, I think it's more than fair that partners also practice their partnership. I am generally a relaxed person that doesn't require things to be that tiddy, although I am the one to make our bed, even so to this day. The Freda report also states that the psychological violence had mainly been in the form of control. Look, that me and Sutesa had different expectation on each other during 2016 and 2019 is granted. I have, however, never forced Sutesa to do anything against her will, but you tell me, are you forced to go to work? My role was, most of the time, to deliver different types of solutions to her problems and concerns, like most husbands do, and sometimes she simply had no other choice than to accept a compromise. During the time in 2018, when she was diagnosed depressed, and we all know what symptoms this carries with it, my day was more about doing things the way she wanted for her to stay in balance. In this way, it's fair to say that she controlled me, even if she did so involuntarily. I say involuntarily, since you have to be insane if you want to be depressed, isn't it? I was the one in the family that handled the main plan to get work and finances to rhyme with family needs, but also the one with the possibility to do this, since I was well versed in the Swedish society and well paid for my work. In my experience, I have always taken Sutesa's wishes seriously, more so before 2019, since by then she started to show another intention with the family than I had in mind. She strongly expressed how she wanted to live with me alone, but not together with my children. If Sutesa was a Swedish woman, this topic would never even come to question. In fact, this is still puzzling to me. I told her that that will never happen, whereas she started to look for ways out. I started to end up in positions where I was accused by Sutesa to sympathize with my children, while my children accused me of sympathizing with her. In the end, I told everyone in the family that they will have to make up their minds and handle their emotions, and that I stood with my arms open for both. The 28th of August, I gave Sutesa the ultimatum to change and become more open to my children, or that we otherwise would have to separate. You can call this a threat, considering her overall position, but there is a limit to what you can accept as a parent, isn't it? However, as the story goes, social services interfered and came to give her another way out. Instead of Sutesa facing the challenges with growth, integration and unity, she was lured with a golden ticket that social services held in their hand. A golden ticket making it possible for Sutesa to live without the presence of my children. It should be said, and what you will see later in the interview I have with Sutesa is that she herself claimed how she many times told social secretaries of how she hated my children. Sutesa had also told them how she had hit me and thrown things at me. The social secretaries, however, had then told her that she shouldn't say like that, and how they couldn't document what Sutesa had said because doing so would mean problem for Sutesa. Sutesa herself testifies to this in this movie. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is how social services work and how equality between our sexes got implemented here in Sweden 2019. What you see is social secretaries being blinded by their own silly idea of what liberation means, coming to favor according to their limited likings and base this on what they read in newspapers. They then call this having an opinion. Just look at this. Am I violent? Do you see me walk around violent, aggressive or threatful today?
even though complete idiots have kidnapped my children based on nothing but lies or political madness. Tell me, how long would you wait before turning violent? Trust me when I say that justice is built into the very fabric of this universe. You might not get justice in the way you want it and when you want it, but it is there whether you like it or not. The word justice, I mean, for those that pay attention, sounds as that which just is, isn't it? Freda concluded that Sutisa single-handedly got to take care of our living space and my children. If you ask Liv, I'm sure she would say that she took care of everything. If you want the truth, look at what's presented in this movie and listen to what my wife says when she describes my role in the family all the way up to January 2019. During Sutisa's depression and her visit to the psychiatric ward, I was left alone taking care of 5 children and worked at the same time. This goes for the weeks my Sutisa spent in Thailand too. This was, however, not something new to me and not something I looked at as a burden. As said earlier, I have been acting father of 3 small kids with a gravely sick, cancer-sick partner for 10 years. Few know what this means. During this time in my life, no social warrior reports got written, so ask yourself, why do you think this is? Then the next Freda category is neglect. And they have one bullet saying, Sutisa didn't feel seen. Come on, due to the nature of my work, I had the possibility to work the majority of my time from home. If you were to ask Sutisa if she would survive if I worked on a cargo boat for 2 months in a stretch, she would rule it out as impossible. I mean, to feel seen. Do you feel seen? Did I feel seen? You see where this is leading. When are you enough, am I asking? Is it not possible to be enough, just the way you are? Again, look at the slides and the chat logs. The images tell something else, don't they? I spent all my non-working time with her. Do you get this level of attention from your partner? Freda continues saying that I had told her that my kids and their mama are embarrassed by her and how they avoided her. Well, in a discussion I had with Sutisa, I worked to describe for her what it means for a Swedish child to get a mother from another culture into the family. Whatever Sutisa made out of this discussion has to be on her. I know that Tuva at one occasion took another walking path together with her friend to avoid bumping into me and Sutisa. I view this as teenage attitude where our teens many times distance themselves from their parents in an attempt to nurture a sphere of their own with their friends. Natural. Sutisa, however, took this event personal. It should be said that Sutisa never ever met Annemai, the mother of my Swedish children. I worked to arrange this meeting, but Sutisa didn't want to. She had a strong belief that Annemai would return to her as a ghost once she died from her cancer and was too afraid to face her. Crazy or not, this was puzzling to both me and Annemai, but something we both came to accept for more than 18 months, until Annemai passed away. Sutisa did not attend the funeral I arranged. Next category highlighted by the Fredas was sex, where the report starts off saying that I had demanded sex from Sutisa. A ridiculous claim in many ways. A demand is stronger than an expectation, and a threat of some kind has to be introduced. Bluntly looking at it, I have also agreed to have sex in moments where I haven't really felt for it, but sometimes you go along to support the needs of your partner, isn't it? That I should have forced myself on her in any way is just lies, or at best a distortion. Whoever came to this conclusion knows very little about sexuality, culture, and nothing about me and Sutisa. Our sex life was, and is, still active and well functioning. It was so even during the time she was in protective custody.
How does social services explain that? I actually sent pictures as proof on how me and Sutisa still had a very close relationship to social services during her time in protective custody, in an attempt to have them face truth. But instead of them coming to question their own conclusions, they moved her to a new facility and removed her phone. Our family lived 7 persons in a 96 quadrat meter two-roomer. We, as any other living in these conditions, had restraints on us regarding our sexual contact. We had to find spots when our kids wasn't home. See, lust is a need for both men and women. The initiative to have sex between us, I would say, was and is 50-50. See, sex is not a bad thing. When is humanity going to come to senses with their physical nature, am I asking? I mean, the reason you exist is because your mother and father once got horny, isn't it? Freda also describes a combination of psychological violence and physical violence related to the moment in time when Sutisa tried to commit suicide. In the Freda report, it states how she attempted suicide 1 time, while in the actualization report, it states that it happened 4 times. The actualization report says that I had denied her hospital treatment. I want you to listen to this recording of Sutisa herself. We can easily take something and twist it into something for our own, what we want. You understand? And you were like that. And still are like that when you get emotional.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you are like a bomb, you know?
Yeah.
It's like...
So I say about, what I say, but I don't know, maybe they take what I say that in the moment and they like something because I don't understand too. What if they will like or something? They just listen me. They not like...
no, they just listen.
No.
And you were very upset and you try to do everything possible to get help and go away.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, because I never wanted you to go away. I never wanted that.
Papa, you just leave me like that. That I think that the last day, you and me. I be honest to say that. That the last day. That the last time we will meet again. And when I go with them until 2-3 days, and I think, oh, no, I love you. I want to be with you. It don't matter. But kid, I see they laughing in the commune and look like they very happy. And I think, oh, so did them plan to be happy in this time. You understand? It look like...
Like here it says, like, Sutisa say that she tried to kill herself multiple times. Not only 1 time. Sometimes she get to come to the hospital, but sometimes he doesn't allow her to get hospital help. I mean, this is just pure lies, you know? Right? It is, because... And I understand that. Listen, the situation where you were, how you felt emotionally...
You can leave, and I don't want to defend anything.
No, you don't want me to.
That because that's a part of me,
Yeah.
and emotion, and that is very down on me.
Yeah,
I'm very sad.
Yeah.
But I say about the story what I feel. Now
We are humans
I stop,
all, right?
and I learn a lot, and I try to say, oh, so sorry what I say that is the emotion that time.
According to Freda, Sutisa also described that she has had told numerous hospital contacts about her living situation, but no one had taken her seriously. There is, however, no sign of this in Sutisa's medical journals. On the contrary, doctors write about how I was assisting her towards recovery and how I have been supportive to her. Social services had access to these journals and spoke to all her doctors. None of them mentioned anything about abuse. I have never ever denied Sutisa any type of hospital treatment. She had a panic attack once where I took initiative and drove her to the hospital where she was given fresh air from a hose. This moment is on display in this slideshow and well documented. Judging from the outcome of the Freda model and the above given criteria, every Swedish person can easily be painted as abusive. For most Swedish persons, however, their partner is not a documented psychotic and gravely depressed, so they may get away with their abuse.
I am not saying this with the purpose to trivialize things. It's about time for people to wake up. Surely there are relationships that are unhealthy, but between me and Sutesa, there was nothing that we couldn't and shouldn't, by law, manage on our own. She was simply sick, confused, and in the middle of her integration dip. She needed time to flower. She holds a different view on what childcare means, yes. She still have a different view other than our Swedish model, and whatever view she has, it came to get empowered 20 times fold by social services. Who should I congratulate? In my 20-year of professional life, I have never ever seen such unprofessional works as on display by social services Härryda. Social services hear what they want to hear, ignores validation practices, and have no respect for timelines or dates. If someone doesn't collaborate on their terms, they rule guilty, even if you're innocent. This is also what abuse of power means. I think you should listen to us, or you will regret it and be sorry. These very words were said to me by Johanna Päme, a social worker at Härryda, just a few days before they took custody of my children. Social services in Härryda felt that the Freda mapping result was insufficient since they have added several bullets of their own into the list of accusations. Amongst these, I was accused to have forced Sutesa to educate herself in massage. This was, however, something she wanted to learn at the time while she were living in Thailand, and that I gladly paid for. But listen to this. She has never, I say never, given me a massage following her getting her certificate, now almost 7 years ago. Unfortunately, I must say. Sutesa herself can testify to this. They also write how I have humiliated her by forcing her to shave me. Well, the content of this movie proves these accusations to be nothing but garbage. So the actualization report and the Freda report was why social services decided to put my wife in protective custody together with our mutual son and put my children in an LVU home. There were no addictions in the family, no violence or abuse between me and my family members, no threats of such of any kind, and this is absolute truth. Social services also talk to my children. The social report also states that my children confirmed these claims. This was also the moment when I knew that social services was actively working to destroy me. I mean, look, I do not bring you opinions of mine. I don't come with speculation. I do not deal with spreading deception, but focus on nurturing perception. I back up what I bring to the table with proof. I offer full transparency in ways you might not have seen before. In the interview I hold with my wife, many times we say social, and it should be clear to everyone that we are talking about social services Härryda. So I did not participate in social services investigation. I went to no meetings, had no interviews. I wasn't even called for these things, simply because I have made it very clear in a polite way that I will not participate. And in the process, I said to all my family members that I stand here, my arms are open, and you will have to decide. I didn't in no way try to affect them how to act. So I didn't speak to anyone in social services until several months later, 6 months later, I went to social services office in Härryda to see the chief operating officer there, Jessica Hansson.
Då fick vi till mötet till slut. Det var ju...
Ja, 2 månader senare.
Har det tagit ungefär 2 månader från det att du bad om det första gången?
Ja.
Det kanske du har gjort. Så ber vi om ursäkt för det.
Nej, behöver inte göra det. Det är den tiden ni har i anläggningen antar jag.
Ja, på chefsnivå så har vi lite längre ledtider.
Och varför? Jo, för att du litar på dina oprofessionella sekreterare som ska göra den här bedömningen så att du kan skriva under.
För att förtydliga det, Anders, så har ju inte de själva, de socialsekreterarna som utredde dina barn,
Ni
har ju
får-
inte gjort detta på egen hand. Utan
Ni
där
har-
har jag och Katrin funnits med.
Ja, okej.
Och tagit del av dokumentationen av vad som har blivit sagt i möten. Vi har funnits med i denna resa.
Men då ska vi göra så här. Kolla här. Jag sa så här, ni får innan vi körde igång det här, då sa vi, ni får prata med mina barn under förutsättning att det spelas in. Och det har ni också vänt i de här utredningarna som att jag har liksom en hållhake på mina barn, att de ska hållas och sägas vissa saker. Hallå? Det är för att ni ska sköta ert jobb. Och de inspelningarna, varenda en vill jag ha. Och det har jag rätt att få. Och har ni inte spelat in det, då har ni brutit totalt mot lojaliteten oss emellan, vad vi kommer överens om. När det handlar om hur vi ska prata med föra dialogen. Så undrar jag, finns de inspelningarna? I så fall vill jag ha dem.
De finns väl transkriberade, skulle jag säga. Vi får undersöka saken exakt vad vi har dem.
Men de finns.
De finns, ja.
Jag vet att mötena spelades in. De kom och frågade hur vi skulle göra.
Väldigt svårt att tro att de är transkriberade.
Det är de också.
Så ni transkriberar en inspelning? Till vilket nöje då? Vilken kostnad då?
Journalanteckning. Alla
Ja, det är samma sak som det här pappret, vad man tycker. Det är ju ett subjekt. Det är ju inte inspelningen i sig. Det var inte alls det vi kom överens om. Så det innebär det att det är mörkat. Hur ni har fört dialogen med mina barn.
Men Katrin sa ju här att vi har inspelningarna.
Jag vet att de spelades in. För
men
de
då
frågade
så.
mig, går det bra att vi
Ja, men
spelar in?
jättebra.
Nej, men så det går bra att spela in dem, tappar vi det. Det är du som var. Så att de ska finnas.
Ja, så då är det ytterligare ett tecken på att mina barn hade ingenting att dölja i det sammanhanget. Men då kan vi lyssna på dem och så ska jag försöka bygga min bedömning hur ni har bedömt det. Då blir det ett ganska stort fint kontrast mellan vad som skrivs och vad som sägs. Jag tror det är ganska bra och tydligt och bra för oss båda parter i det här framöver. För det här är inte slut för 5 öre.
My meeting with Jessica wasn't really giving. I mean, she mostly showed unaware of the case and the situation and had a very defensive position. She was referring to that it's a matter of opinion and, I mean, basically saying, I do it my way, fuck you. And but she did promise me one thing, and that was to send me the recordings from the interview of my children, where my children had, as said in the social reports, confirmed that I was abusing my wife. Before they came and to interview my children, they actually came and asked me for permission. And I say, no problem, you can talk to my children, but I want you to record it. And we agreed on this. So it was kind of a handshake on that set the tone for how to go on and carry out the dialogue, so to speak, between the children and social services. So after the meeting, I waited month after month. I mean, in Sweden, by law, I am entitled to these recordings. I am their caregiver, and as such, I should be able to have these recordings. So I waited month after month, sent email after email, called trying to get a hold of her, 14 months later, she get tired of it, and she sent a secretary of her to tell me how she had destroyed the recordings. In this very moment where I stand, social services have sued me and are now working actively to have the personnel working at the LVU home where they have been placed by government to adopt them, to make them the caregiver. So this is how she operates. I mean, have you ever heard of anything like this before? Well, it might just as well be the perfect thing for this movie. I mean, you know how it is, right? If you know something, you simply know it. I mean, I know for sure I never abused anyone in my family. I loved every family member and worked hardest to try to treat everyone equal, of equal value, so that everyone could feel at home with it. I mean, after all, it was my family, so that's what I did. And when social services claims in the report that how my children confirmed that I was abusing my wife, I simply know 100% it's all lies. And I mean, if you look at Vilgot and me, we had a really nice relationship. He was a bit of a prankster in school, so to speak, and got in trouble with that in school a few times, and I had to kind of get him straight at times, you know, but overall I know for sure that he considered his papa loving and fair. I mean, when I say getting him straight, I'm not talking about physical abuse at all. It's more about like sitting down with him, talking about how things relate and what's important, you know, to kind of live life in a socially acceptable way. So that's what I did. As for Tuva, she was struggling in her teenaging period, 13 years old. But I know she would never say anything like that, not even for her own purpose. She would never ever, you know, think that just because I can get away to another home and not have to live with in a hybrid cultural family, she would never make up lies like that. I know so because I seen her from when she grew up. And also you can have a look at these chat logs, right? Because I have contact with Tuva a few times. She's actually the only one that break through the walls that social held and kind of reached out to me. So I haven't seen her or anything. It's more that we have had some conversations, and I'm trying to tell her, you know, go to social and claim, you know, this is not okay. Tell the truth, the way it was, but she is too small to get, and where she is in the life, she's not there to get into the report and understand everything that's going on. After all, she's only 13-year-old. So what can you expect? But as you can see in the chat logs, she never said anything like that. It's the same when whoever I talk to, they never said anything negative about me, you know. Then we have, I mean, I talked to my mama. She say, no, I never said anything about that you're starving your kids, you know. So, and I mean, whoever I talk to, including my wife, they completely, it's kind of pulled from the air, so to speak, by social. Then we have leave. And this is a interesting topic, you know, because Liv had her psychological issues, but I am not gonna point at them because she is a lovely, lovely girl. And I know she would never lie. She would not make up things that she knows is untrue about her papa. She have an integrity inside herself, so to speak. She was 16 at the time. She go out with in 9th grade that year. The year before, she go out 2018 in the ground school in Sweden, 9th grade, with 5.0 in her scores. She went from when living with mama in the central city. She had a problem with school and her grades were a little bit low. So us moving out to Landvetter and she living with me and she started school there proved to be exactly what we were hoping for her. And it's a bit windy here. I see if I can put this microphone into wow, so windy. I go here. So Liv would never say either. However, it should be said that Liv was old enough to start to build an opinion about how life should be and what is right from wrong, and she had a frequency in her, you could say, that she got inherited from my earlier 20-year-old relation with her mama. She was a so-called feminist in Sweden, and she was fighting very hard for, I would say fighting very hard, but she was engaged and into equality between the sexes. She was very much for equal value, so to speak, between man and lady. And the way the feministic movement in Sweden are indoctrinating and infusing a fight between the sexes, I have always found a little bit of destructive, to be honest, but not to the point where I think that I myself will have to stand there and point fingers at the feministic movement. I mean, we are all human beings, okay? There is no difference except that we have different sexes. But we can come to identify with different roles in that. We can come to say, yeah, I am like this. And going a 16-year-old, you go through a phase where you take on a lot of identities. I mean, you can just look back into when you were 16 and you will see how many different roles you've had and how opinionated you were in that while being in such phase, so to speak. So Liv, she had an issue with seeing the differences between a Thai culture and the way ladies are in Thailand and the relationship they have with their husband. I mean, for example, when I met Sutasa, she insisted that she wanna shave me. You know, shave my beard, and she still do, and she loved to do it, and I have kind of learned to love it. I mean, in the sense of it's a nice thing, you know. It's just something we do basically. But for her, those kind of things, and that it's not only that, it's many things, so to speak, that a feminist would point to me and say this is female oppression, so to speak. Just simply because of the way Sutisa and her cultural origin, you know, how she was. So I feel very odd the first time she shaved me. I figured this is my job I've done all my life, but you know, the sweetness in it, and the kind of bonding that was included in that process, so to speak. It kind of helped to integrate her with me and me with her, so to speak. So I let go with it, and I got used to it. But these kind of things were kind of the opposite direction from how Liv pictured the female gender and the evolution of rights for ladies in Sweden. So she was very opinionated with this. Liv also witnessed once that when Sutisa went into Lowe's, she got almost impossible to handle at the time. I mean, she threw stuff, you know, in rage, and there was one time when she got completely hard to handle, so to speak, in the bedroom, and me and Liv was there, and she was screaming, and I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I felt that I had to cool her down. So I held her and I pushed her down into the bed, and I said to her, "Hey, calm down." And this is something that is mentioned in the report, or it kind of bubbles up somewhere in the report, and also something that Sutis has mentioned in the interview about that, something about pushing someone down on the bed, you know. I mean, just a little bit, I would say 30 minutes later, after that Sutis had this enraging moment, so to speak, she was smiling, laughing, and everything okay again. So it was a kind of a vibration in her trying to understand and make sense of things, and when she didn't, she kind of freaked out. So Liv, surely she was very set that this is not a good typical feministic boilerplate, so to speak, for her siblings. So surely, and she was also pushed by her contact, the psychologist that I mentioned earlier, that how it should be, so to speak. But she would never. Liv have this integrity that she would never ever make up lies about her papa. At least not as I knew Liv when she was 16 years old. And so when you know this, you know it 100%, that there's someone in social that is against the way you live, the way you have constructed your family, the way you have created the dynamics to make two cultures work together, so to speak. I mean, they deal with situations in their way and in their work, and they go around and make their opinions on how people should live their life. And surely they run into issues where there is abuse in the picture. But as a professional, you also need to differentiate what is and what is not, right? You cannot say just because a man marries a lady from Thailand that he sells her on internet. Do you understand? It is like we need to have some kind of integrity, dignity, commitment, and, you know, be involved in what we do, to the point where we are able to be precise enough for justice to kind of make it possible for the world to flourish. I mean, if we empower persons that are completely unconscious and put them in power positions, this world will not go anywhere. it will be a complete disaster in the end. I say this knowing what the alternative would be if everyone became conscious. I mean, you would see a world that flourished within months. You will see a world that you never ever could thought of possible. You will see borders fall. You will see war end. You will see people coming together like never before. So I knew for 100% that my children would not make up lies. Simply, it's impossible in my mind. So, I mean, I haven't talked to Vilgot, but I know he would support that. I know he would say 100% that he never ever had said anything that I abused anyone in the family. And Liv would say too. I wouldn't, if she called it abuse, that just because of political reason, that I can understand, because the way the feministic movement sometimes takes form in the teenaging period of life can turn into absolute ridiculous forms, isn't it? I mean, I once met a very famous Swedish singer that I had a relationship with that had problems with me saying in Swedish, man måste göra någonting, for example, because I used the word man, and surely she later in life celebrated the word hen as it come, right? You have to be Swedish to understand that what I mean with that, but yeah. So just wanted to put that in. That's kind of the backgrounder for this interview that we had. We're gonna see what my wife says. I mean, after all, I still live with my wife. I still have custody of our mutual Thai boy. If that is not interesting to you, how that can be, then I wish you all the best. So here's the interview.
So we typically don't talk about what happened 3 years ago, but there are a misconception out there about what really happened, you know? So that's what this video aimed to shed some light on. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Meaning we're gonna talk about a little bit what happened, you know, and how things are. And you are 100% honest, just as you were before, you know. No, just say the way it is, the way you feel and everything.
Yeah. No problem.
Do you love me?
Yes, I love you.
What's great about me?
You are good heart, and you good papa, good husband. So these are things important, you know, when we live together and you be honest man and you very nice.
Do you remember when we met?
Yeah.
How did we meet?
You listen think too much.
I think too much.
Yeah.
We met in Thailand, right?
Yes.
What year?
2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah.
Since 2015, have I ever been violent with you?
Yeah, I feel look like when we come 2019 or
2019.
when we have your kid to live together.
Yeah.
That's the hard part for family.
Yeah, but my question was, have I, as a human being, been violent? And that means, have I ever hit you?
No.
Have I ever forced you to do something you don't want or threat you in any way?
No. But when you have too deep to meditate, that is the time it, for me, I think that is a little nightmare.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, you came to Sweden, right? Into the to Landvetter where we lived, where 2017
17.
wasn't it
Yes.
16?
No.
No, 2000.
No, the first time when I visit Sweden, that is 16.
2000. Yeah,
Yeah,
you first
2000.
came 6 months and visit,
Yeah.
and then we had to be apart from each other 6 months,
Yeah.
and then you came back, right?
Yes.
And
With
then
Nano.
with only Nano, so we lived together, and then the mama of my kids
Yeah.
passed away.
In the 2018.
18, but before that they have moved in with us.
Yeah, but they not live together. They come weekend or
Yeah, sometimes,
Yeah.
right.
So we have a little time to learn together because you and me meet. We learn. I can say only 1 year. So we don't know much together about what you like, what we
Yeah.
learn too. But in the end, I bring Nano come and I pick an end. So they did little. We not learn much to each other.
Yeah.
Only did it family now. You understand?
Yeah.
So did it the lesson when your kid come to live with us because mama passed away. That very hard because we meet only weekend or we not too deep to relation, and you and me still not too deep for relation really. But did emergency because I pregnant and I need to bring Nano come to Sweden.
Yeah,
too.
you were pregnant at the
Yeah.
time. You became pregnant when you were in Sweden, right?
Yeah,
With
the
me.
last time when I visit and I go to Thailand, I
Yeah.
know I pregnant. and
How
I
about that? When we got pregnant, how did you and me feel about that?
I think it's the great because I feel love and I not think about I will bake with you, you know. Everything is okay, everything fantastic for lover when we meet and until we know about we pregnant. But little hard because I live in Thailand and you here and I have a little hard for take care myself because I have a little program about blood come out when I pregnant. Have many things and I need to go to between. I need to take care Nano. That time Nano only 6 years old. So I need to have pregnant again and I live in Chiang Mai. So I need to go to hospital.
During this time, since you were pregnant and you were in Thailand at the time, we were waiting for you to come to Sweden, right?
Yeah.
It was
We wait
kind of
for
timing
visa.
was like that in regards to visas and how
Yeah.
you were allowed to travel.
Yeah.
And when you were in Thailand at the time, you didn't work, right?
Yeah, before I meet you, I quit a job, come to study about German language.
And hairdressing, right?
Yeah, and I can say I go to cut the hair, learn about hair artist. That is for hobby.
Did I support you during this time? Like
Yeah.
show you that I'm here for you. I want you to come to Sweden.
Yes.
I love that we have kids together. I send you money.
Yes, absolutely.
So you would say that
After-
I supported you back then, so to speak, and then you
Yes.
come to Sweden,
Yes.
and we lived great together. And when there was a space, it was easier for you to get into Sweden and how to live life here in Sweden.
I have
when
no life
when my
here.
kids were not there,
Yeah.
so to speak. They came weekends, but when Mama passed away, it became like a full-time thing, right? So when you come to Sweden, how would you describe the difference between Thailand and Sweden? You know, was it same everything or?
Oh, so big difference, you know, about the culture, about the people, about how you thinking, how to acting in this society. So different for me.
Yeah.
I live like in Thailand, I can say 30 years. So different, you know. I think I look like, oh, I shocked, you know. And I never see kids and not respect papa, mama, and screaming, and that is a little hard.
You see a side of this, how Swedish children are, so to speak, where they they shout and they
You
we
say
had
bad
a
to
different-
papa, mama.
They say bad.
Yeah.
How would you describe bad in a sense?
It look like in Thailand we really respect old people or the people older or papa mama very much because this is our culture. We learn to don't matter about maybe papa mama not take care you, but they are papa mama. So we take care of them. You understand? Not about money or we not think about that. We think about in the heart.
I remember you coming from Thailand. Not only do you have to, there are a lot of things that you have to integrate with. You know, the word integration, when you become one with something, that you move to a new culture and everything is new and you have to learn it, right?
Yeah.
And this is a confusing phase, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it is
very very confused, and I think same Thai, but in the society here not same the Thai culture, how to thinking, how to in Thailand we look like we friendly to people and we can we can say hey we don't know, hey come to my home, we eat together, we very close together,
more open between humans. So
I can meet friend only one day and I take them come to home to eat and I look like we best friend we know long time before. But here when I say hey to people, they not react.
They not
back,
have that the same kind
but
of
I
openness.
try to understand,
sort of
or maybe
That's what you mean.
they're not so friendly because of the culture. But the first year I don't know. I try to friendly to people, even your kid. I try to friendly what they like, what they. But when we live together, that's the big problem. I cannot say because maybe people outside they say, oh, why they only kid. Why you need to think about? You need to be me, and to be me, take care, 5 kids the same time, and you change to be meditate, man. That is I don't want to.
But you say I changed, but we come to that that there was some change in me in regards to how I was and you know how I acted and as a result, right? So, but when we come to that, so when you come to Sweden and you, I think when living together as a family, there were fights in the family, right? That were between the kids, they were screaming.
Yeah, but we Thai.
And
I Thai very. I think about it in my family now. I try to accept everything. I try very hard because before in my life, I not have papa mama beside me. I go up with myself, and when I have Nano, and his papa, we not have a good relation. So I really want to take care Nano. We live together, only 2 person in the house.
Yeah.
So
it got a lot of change, and you were not ready for that in a sense that you didn't know how to handle it, right? And this led to a depression, right?
Yeah, I very depressed, and I think about, for me, if you say, hey, but you mama for Nano, hey, I need to say like this, who take care Nano? That is nanny. And I only go to work in hospital to earn money, to take care, pay rent, house, pay everything. That is my job, to go to work and earn money. So I have Nano, but I have nanny to beside me to take care of him, to go to school. So I'm not really mama to do everything.
No, you were inexperienced as to be a mama, so to speak, to take care. And also my children I had, they lost their mama, so they were expecting a new mama in a sense, and they couldn't find that. So it became like it didn't work, so to speak, in between you, right?
But I don't think about it long or something, because about culture.
It's about culture. Yeah.
And how I go up, how a family they be, and so I not think this is the big picture for me to think about that. But I think about, you need to think I only 30 and I come here, I not to go up same Swedish lady.
Yeah.
And I need to take care 5 kids. And we different culture, different thinking,
it got way too complex, you know.
And I just give birth Alvin very small. And how I can't get the paid after I give birth.
Yeah,
to. That
And
make me down from the
I
life.
mean, it's very important that everyone that listens to this video understand that there is no intention from you or from me to blame anyone.
No.
Something happened before, and it is more about looking back at what happened to look at it with clarity, to see what really was, so that everyone understand, you know.
And I want to say, look, like I knew in Sweden too. I just moved
Yeah.
here. And I don't know everything here.
I mean, I remember your integration journey, so to speak, coming from when I met you in Thailand, and how you come to Sweden first time, and how we build family in Sweden together, and my kids. I see you from outside, so to speak. I am not you, but I see you from me. So the way I saw it at the time was that you were struggling to integrate into the society, to learn a new language, to understand what people were thinking, to understand who you were gonna be. And you didn't find a good spot with that. So you went depressed, and that led to that you tried to kill yourself, right? And this was the summer of 2018.
Yeah, because I feel very down, and I feel only pupam for me. And I'm so sad for because I feel I lost everything for my life to be myself. I need to take care of the kid, and I need to learn the culture.
Yeah, it got too much for you, so to speak.
Very much.
Yeah. So at that time, you ate sleeping pills, right? I came home one day. The kids were home sitting watching TV, and I go into the bedroom. And you were there sleeping. I was sitting talking to you for 30 minutes before I actually noticed that you didn't listen. So then I also saw the pills, right? And we went to the hospital, and we managed to. It was not, you didn't die, so to speak, right? Which was super fortunate, right? So, okay, at that time, 2018. Social got involved, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember why they got involved?
I think about your kid go to talk with the
Social services.
Yeah.
About that they're not happy about how things are at home, right?
Yeah.
Would you say, if you compare how we live today and how we lived then, would you say that we have less or more fights at home today?
I think this a normal family now.
There's no. You don't feel that stress, and you don't experience that we are fighting this in the same way.
No, and the important, I learn more too. I live more. I learn the culture. I know how to go. What I want to do, I can do. Before, when I been with social and I talk with them, you can go to see the document. Because I knew, I don't know how to go, I don't know how to buy something, I don't know what to communicate with people.
You were in a very tight spot, you didn't know what to do, right?
No.
So did you follow social willingly, or did you want to stay with me? How was that?
You know, first I feel when you change, and I think about, I don't know how to do. Because I had the Halloween only 1 year, and Nano 7 or 8 year. He's 8 only that, and did a new land for me. But I think about social is support me that time, to beside me, to help me about money, economy, and boost that for living. So I think I can do, and some to live and some, but. No, kid want papa.
So it got to social came and they took you in and they talked to you, right? You were in a very desperate state, in a desperate situation, because you felt that. What I mean, when they come, what was it that?
Like I in some Swali.
Do you know what it was that made them come and offer you an apartment to live in? What was the reason
the
for
first
that?
day
What was
when
the reason?
I have before I talk with the social, because they come with the kid, your kid, and contact them, and they come directly to because of the kid, not about
Yeah.
me. And after that, he see me stressed and I sad. I very down to that time.
Yeah.
So they think I really want them help. I know.
In Sweden, by law, if you are married, you're also responsible for each other financially. This put social services in somewhat of a dilemma. Since I was silent, they couldn't offer Sutisa an apartment or the necessary funds unless there was serious concerns involved, something that justified them justified them to bypass this rule. So in this process, somehow, in some miraculous way, the cause for it was invented.
I not have more choice that time, so I
And
say
what
about
did-
that. I want they help me
Yeah. So they
because
want.
that's the better someone to help me stand up again.
Yeah.
Because I very down that.
So they gave you an apartment, right?
Yeah.
And separated me from my son. How did you feel about that? About like what there was a break.
You know, the first week, I feel look like what? They put me in the emergency page with a lady with a kid, and I feel no. I look like I depressed, you know. I don't know myself too, because I so sad, so upset for life, so upset about your kid, about everything. But I feel look like I wake up. Maybe 2 days later, when they put me, and I feel no, I don't want to live here. Where is my man? You understand, my man?
But you were not allowed to call me, right?
No.
Or make contact with me.
I think they take my phone. They take my phone from me, and they say about they need to keep that. So I cannot allow to contact, and they keep an auto phone. I did it so long time ago. So
I remember.
I try to
They took
recognize
your
that.
phone and they forbid you to call me, to make contact with
No,
me.
they not allow me to use anything, and they give me the phone only call with the.
They put
someone
you in protective custody, it's
Yeah.
called, and that means that they only do that if they see that the husband is violent and abusive. And they write in the report, they say that I used you financially, sexually, and that I hit you.
You
Is
know,
that listen? Is that true or not?
No, but I think about it, you know, when them come to interview me, it's some question it look like very hard to understand, and sometimes they have a talk.
Tolk.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a translator
Yeah.
in between because you didn't speak the
Yeah,
language,
but
so make it a little harder, right?
You know, but you need to understand. I really depressed.
Yeah, no.
I just say I look like I not me.
No,
That
I
time
know.
I really sad.
Yes.
I look like I'm crazy.
Yes,
You know?
I mean, for me it was very obvious that you were very emotionally stressed,
Yeah.
right? Because integrating into a new culture in the
Yeah.
scenario where you were, it is not an easy thing to go through as a being, as a human being.
And if you take a back, that before did happen, I've been in the psychology hospital for 2 weeks. And they
Yeah.
put medicine. You know, everything my brain it look like not 100%. I can know myself only 20%. So everything I just said.
Yeah.
I want to go away from this
I mean, as I said, we're not
situation.
looking for blame. We're just looking
No,
for.
I say about myself.
Yeah.
I know myself now. I can say this is Sutisa 100%. I didn't myself. I know what I feel, what I really. But that before I feel not me. It's someone else to be me. because I lost myself.
You lost yourself
Yeah.
in that
Yeah, I
process,
can
so
say
to
that,
speak.
yeah.
So 2-3 weeks or months before they social come and take my kids and took you to protective custody.
Yeah.
They you were in hospital,
Yeah.
right? So a psychological
Yeah.
hospital to get your mind together.
Yeah.
During this time, before social came and took my kid, did I support you during this time? Like show
Yeah.
you I'm there with you. We will
Yeah,
help.
you go to visit me and you show with Nano and Alvin. I feel look like I really stayed that time and I feel when I see my kid and I I want to live life because I have kids. I need to
Yeah.
take care of them. That's why I feel when social come, I need to stand with my leg. I can do. But in the end, I feel look like kid want papa.
Yeah.
And we want family.
So,
I don't
I mean-
want to live alone in Somalia because of I come here and I want to come to live alone. No, I come because I love and I feel look like you my love. So we live together.
Yeah.
That's why I come. Because if I say about in my life, I want to go to abroad because I want to hunting money or send back to Thailand. No, in Thailand I not have anyone to. I have only Nano and me.
Yeah.
So I want love and want family. I hunting for love and family. When I meet you and I feel look like did we walk together?
Yeah.
Don't matter about.
I mean, we
something.
did marry, right?
Yeah.
You're
we
married. What year we married?
2018.
In 20th of
20,
January,
yeah.
right? So now you are put in protective custody of a social, and you were there 6 months, right? And they put you in different homes. And the reason they put you in different homes was because you made contact with me, right?
Yeah.
So we had contact with each other during this time, and as soon as they found out, they moved you to a new location to
Yeah.
hide you, right?
I mean about in Thailand we look like when we know each other or we don't happy together but we can be friends. We can go to eat together and we can talk together because you to be papa of Alvin and I feel Alvin want to see papa too. But I don't understand about what they're thinking. They just only take my phone when they feel I not listen them and they take away my phone.
How did Alvin react during this time, these 6 months?
First, he want papa.
How
needs
can
papa.
you tell that? How did that show? He asked for me, or he cried, or?
Yeah, because when if I say I've been in hospital 2 weeks, you only want to take care him, and he have sister, 2 sister and brother, 2 brother. We quite a big family, and when we move out from that and have everything is lost, broken. So he see me only with Nano, and he feel where they gone.
Did he cry himself to sleep?
Yeah,
Screaming for Papa?
No, only 2-3 days.
2-3 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
First 2-3 days, he feel look like he want because we live very close together, you and me.
Yeah.
When we put kids together, you away with me.
Yeah.
But when you sharing that, yeah, it can be hard, but he still see you.
Yeah, through a phone, right?
I mean about when you sharing to be meditate. Sometimes you go out to walk, and sometimes you not come to bedtime with him. But he still see you. You understand? But now not see anyone, only Nano and me. And I little stressed because we live in Helsingin, and Alvin Nano go to school later.
Yeah.
We need to take bath 1.5 hours in the morning, and 1.5 hours to go back.
Yeah. So social, they put you in a protective custody where you have to go. That is on Hisingen, and have you for 6 months go take Alvin to daycare
Yeah.
in Landvetter,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And you
very-
did this every day, every school day. Spent 3 hours on a bus
Yes.
with him, right?
Yeah, and I cannot go to SFE because the SFE in Muluke.
And you had to break your studies.
Yes.
Would you say that? I mean, let's look at my change then. I mean, my change for me.
So a little more sleep this time. Slept 3.5 hours this night, so now I feel my energies are just pumping. Anyway, we're talking about a change, right? A change that happened to me at the time, 2019. So I figured I put some clarity into that. Something for you to understand, or get a chance to understand what really happened. 2018, I was working and I felt that I had hit the wall, so to speak. I wonder, why do I do this? What is this all about? I mean, I have always been interested in like existential topics, so to speak. I considered myself to be okay in a philosophical discussion, and was interested about the questions, the big questions we cannot answer, so to speak. So, but I kind of felt that since there were a lot of change at home that surely affected me feeling this way, but it was not something I projected. It was something that I kind of tried to navigate, to find ways to convince myself, so to speak, that it will get better. I mean, I was classified to have a depression 1995, long time ago now. But that, I mean, I went to the psychologist, ate pills for a week or something like that before I figured I don't want to eat chemicals. I don't want to, And then eventually 2-3 months later, I was at it again, and I was out there and doing my stuff, and didn't think that much about it. But I did know that during this phase where I started to kind of doubt my the meaning of life, so to speak, I kind of recognized this 2018 as well. But this time I didn't go to psychologist. I have had come to know that kind of psychologist is just another paid person sitting there asking questions, and you're just answering, and you not really get any answers. At least that was what my experience was then, and I wasn't wrong. Okay, so 2018 I started to go into myself a little bit. I started to take time off to lay down and listen to music, just not have issues or things that had to be done to push me constantly, but reserve about 20 minutes a day, just to kind of find a solid base to stand on, and to kind of reinvite the life energies in me that I felt was starting to get depleted. So I started to listen to relaxing music, and that eventually, since the way social media is designed is that what you consume you kind of get served, so to speak, and so that automatically led that spiritual stuff came into the picture in my social media feeds. So I started to consume that, and I ran into Sadhguru. And at first I figured this man is completely crazy. He is absolutely insane, insanity himself. And the more I listened to him, I also felt that for the first time in my life I met someone that actually approached the ponderings I had in a way that was totally new to me. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but I kind of more and more gradually over, let's say, 4 months, from the summer 2018 to the later part of the year, so to speak, I kind of grew my interest. So I mean, I went to the inner engineering course. I went through that. I learned some yoga sequences and kind of found that there's something here, but I cannot put the finger on what it is, you know. So I mean, he had so much wisdom, I felt, that I never really ran into, about like extending or grinding or exploring your consciousness about what it is to be a human being at a completely different level. I mean, I've been pretty successful in life, you know, in regards to whatever I have taken on. I have been received appreciation for, in the sense of what I do for work, or when I have created something. There has always been a sense of that, it's good work, so to speak. And it's also, I've always had a side in me that if I do something, I'm not result oriented at all. It's more that when I do something, I burn for what I do. I love what I do, and I do it only because I love it. And I kind of did the same way with Sadhguru. So but even though I considered myself to be not the stupid man, so to speak, I felt that there's another level here. But I couldn't put the finger on what it was, you know. So, but the more I consumed from what he had to say, the more I got into meditation, the more I worked with myself this way. Eventually, in January 2019, I was at the toilet with a glass and a dish towel, and it just struck me, and I got it all. And it was like being in a state of living as a human being, as someone that lives his life and does his best in what he do, but not understanding what he do, but finally understand why. The purpose of life itself. And this is a realization that has to happen for all individuals. But the realization itself, it will not come to you unless you do the right things. It's like you can't have a hamburger if you don't cook it. Do you understand? It's like that. You can't. It's like I truly, from the very core and source and root of who I am and what I am, understood that. Understood this magnificent world in a way where at the toilet, when this struck me, it was like a shockwave around me. I mean, it was visual in my visual space. And the clarity at that moment, it's undescribable. So what really happened? You see, you have to understand this. Sadhguru, he is a master of unbelievable you see the satisfaction in it. It is unparalleled. That joy that I just generated, I can pick out any time I want. I can, at this time, 3 years later, I can master it. In the sense of, I have no problem in going down and getting myself understood. But 3.5 years ago, it was overwhelming. It was to the point where I was so happy and wanted to share this, but when my words came out in an intellectual manner, no one could understand me. It's very clear and very basic, really. It's about like coming to understanding what your energies are, what's really rooted inside you, and break a misunderstanding of what it is. And the following 6 months after this, I worked very hard, I would say. Hard, I don't know, but intensely, because the nature of what I had found had converted my whole system. I mean, the way I breathe, the way I see things, what I see, what it tells me, everything completely transformed. So it's not about a personality change or that you do something and over time you become part of that. No. This is much, much bigger. I mean, this is everything. I say everything there is to know. And what Sadhguru does is that he transmits his own consciousness. And he does it in an artistical way, you could say, in a geometrically perfect way. So that enables other people to grow their own consciousness, to become aware of what absolute truth are and what life is. And this is very hard to grasp, you know, because everyone that, at least here in the West, and I would say 99% of the humans alive on this earth today, they have not walked that path. They have not looked into it. And if they look into it, they do it with thick goggles, so they cannot see what it is. And for me, it took 6 months. And when I got into it, I say, I really get into something when I do it. I did not just sit and listen to Sadhguru. I did it all the time. In the sense of, as soon as my kids were sleeping, I was sitting doing it. I studied what he said. Listen to his videos not only one time, many times. It was like taking what I consumed became kind of a vibration in my head. So if I go to the store with my kids, or I take my wife somewhere, or I go to work, or it was like in the back of my mind I was processing. So the moment of realization, what really happens is that you get complete understanding of this consciousness. And this is also the moment where suffering ends. From this moment, and you have to consider now that someone come and take my kids. Someone lied on me. Big time. Someone basically had no sense of compassion for other human beings and choose to destroy instead of facing truth. And I was part of being affected by that. I had my own mother and father turn my back. I had pretty much everyone I know in this Swedish society go into silence and not talk to me. I have been since then, I would say 18 hours a day, been working on to get a way to transmit this consciousness to others. I have been going around knocking doors, visiting people's home. I have been traveling the world alone without money. My life changed from being a family father of 5 to seeing this fall apart in front of me. Not because I was violent, hitting people, or come with, in any way act against humanity. I was basically all along only preaching about well-being, health, ultimate health, how to embrace and enjoy life. I was sitting like this in meditation at times, and I embraced nature. I take my kids out to nature, and for that, and I talked a lot about sound and God, right? And I still do. I still do every single day, every moment I have. I want to go in and see, is there any possibility that I can get other people to find what I found? Because, if I'm able to transmit this knowing to only one person, my life would have been worth. That's how great this is. So, what is it then? What is it? Is it a teaching? No, it's not a teaching. This is about reality, here and now, where you are, where you stand as you live life, whatever you do. You sell hot dogs somewhere, you're a butcher somewhere, you're an army pilot somewhere, whatever you do. This is about when you do it to maximize the potential in what you do. And do it with 100% concern for other human beings. Meaning, you go from a state where you're completely lost and live just life, considering yourself awake, to become awakened while awake. So it's like it's a complete reset that occurs to you and your system as a whole. It is ultimate well-being. I know this because physically, my body, I haven't been sick since. I have energy that is unbelievable. And remember, I went from feeling depleted. And I even quit my job to get some space into looking at what should I do with my life. And it's to go from there from early morning, after only sleeping 3 hours a day, being on, constantly on with an intensity that is just insane, but so wonderful. It is love itself. It is love for the world. It is also knowing, in the sense of I understand what will happen if we don't. And what happened to me when I realized is what have happened to many other people living before us. I mean, it is the cause and reason for all world religions. It is to touch your inner core and discover God. And not only discover some bearded man coming and shaking your hand. This is about coming to discover the origin of your own existence and understand that you are what God are, a part of what God are. And this cannot be intellectually interpreted like that. It has to become a living experience. That is, once your energies are grinded and you become aligned with your energies, there's a possibility to flip in a direction. You you kind of work with your sadhana, your meditation, and a master to listen to a different possibility, to a point where you can see a small opening. And when you see that small opening, there is nothing that will stop you from taking that extra step, because it has at that point everything is clear enough for you to see that what it is. So complete transformation, yes. But what did I transform into? Did I transform into a monster? Or did I transform into someone that actually talk about love? That talk about what life is about? That talk about how to expand your consciousness? And consciousness is not what most people believe it to be, that something that makes you feel bad if you do something that is immorally good, not okay. No, consciousness is the base for your perception. Consciousness is your clarity level, so to speak. The very top peak of clarity and the very top peak of consciousness is what is the level of intelligence that makes out for this world, for everything. For a bird, for a fly, for a crocodile, for an elephant, for you. So this intelligence itself is what God is. So what happened to me was that I did this realignment. Since then, I mean, and when this happens, you extract answers in a completely different way. You have a different relationship with cosmos and universe as a whole. You look at everything and you're not thinking how to extract and use it. You look at it and it tells you why it is. Again, intellectually, this is very hard to take in as if from where you are standing. When I first ran into Sadhguru, I thought that this man is absolutely crazy. But I tell you, the geniusness, the brilliance that he brings to this world is gonna totally transform everything. There is no stopping this. So I say like this. I found a remedy. I found the tools, I found the technique, I understood it fully, and I was connected and am connected to the biggest of intelligence itself. And when I had a little problem in my family, between the family members, I also knew what the ground root cause was. It became very clear to me that the life energies within them, so to speak, were lost, confused, and didn't make sense of the moment that they were in. So and this comes up, and it's labeled as depression or whatever psychological abbreviation or letters you want to attach to it. But that is just, it is it's a heap and pool of misunderstandings, okay? So, because once you find this, and I promise you, it is fully doable for anyone. With the correct, just a little bit of commitment, a tiny bit of investigation ability, or a tiny bit of curiosity, enough for you to start the spiritual process. Because it is so powerful that you simply cannot not enjoy life. And when you do, it doesn't mean you do anything you like and think that's okay with it. No. I mean, it's a different level of freedom, we could say. I mean, you could say it's nice to be free and not be ruled by God, but then I say you are absolutely fooling yourself. Because once you connect to the immensity of what this universe is, there is no such thing as depression, anger, worries, nothing. It's clarity. It's to see that this is clearly not good. This is clearly not working. Or this is okay. This is perfect to do. I mean, you can differentiate what will work from what not work. But doing so at an existential level and not a social level. So when I talk about different levels, we can talk about that for hours. In the end, there's a realization that needs to be made. So what I found, I tried to communicate to my family members. I tried to get Sutasa to meditate again. Because when living in Thailand, in that culture, there is a different vibe there. And the vibrations of Sweden society and our kind of rule books had kind of put her into an existential trap. And I had for 46 years lived in that trap. And I have raised my kids, my oldest at the time 16, to fall in that trap. So surely this is karma, right? In the sense of it has two sides. Karma is the perfect possibility, but it's also the reason you can get really hurt in life. So yeah. So that is what happened. I tried to get my wife to meditate. I tried to introduce spirituality to my children. But to get teenagers from where they are, where it's influenced by the modern Western society, then YouTube or the the social sphere, so to speak, is much more important. Simply because they don't know what they are missing out on.
And I mean, my change for me when I did the meditation and became meditative, that happened in January. So for me, where I felt that I found kind of myself. I found myself. As you said that you lost yourself, you didn't know. I was also lost all my life, but I found myself in January, and this happened. They took custody of my kids and put you in protective custody in August, I think, around that, right? 6 months later.
No, I feel I don't remember much, you know, about the past because I live my life today now. And what I do only today, so I not think about the past because if I think the past, I stress.
But you know, it was summer, right, when they come.
No. You need to go to look the paper.
When they came and take care of my kids, and it was summertime. It was August. It was actually
it's a Hurston.
Yeah, August, September.
Yeah,
time frame,
Hurston.
summer.
It look like it start to little cold now, not summer.
I mean, they write that I used you sexually. Would you say that I only?
You know, I think about the question what they ask me look like how many times we have sex in the week. Or you know, for me,
they ask questions to try to understand, right?
Yeah,
how
and
our relationship is.
You told me on the bed or something, but when we fighting, I say to them, the last fighting for us, look like we break. I told God on you.
Yeah.
You not do anything.
I have never hit you, right?
No.
I have never caused you physical harm.
Yeah.
So, but you did on me. You hit me, right? Is that true or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I say to them too. The one time I really upset and I feel I cannot handle it. I look like I freak out from my personal and I don't want to live here anymore. I feel too much.
You were very deeply depressed, so to speak. I know that. We know that all, right?
Because I feel look like I sick, you know. I sick in the society. I seek for new life here.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But the way they viewed it, social, and the way they understood it was that I was dangerous.
You know, I feel look like we don't know. They talk with your kid too. They do two part. They talk with me one part, and they talk. In the end, I don't know what they talk. And they have the question with me. Many look like many.
Yeah, they talk to my kids, and they talk to you, and they talk to my parents, and they talk to.
I don't know.
Wait, to the person that we lived with, that we rented the apartment at the farm, and based on what they found during their talking, they made a conclusion, a judgment, right? And wait. The main concern that in the family that we knew about was that I had come to change in how I was, right? It's not that I became an animal and started to hit and hurt people, right?
No.
It was more about that I started to talk about God and I started to talk about love. Is that true or not?
I think you're too deep for that.
No.
Exciting.
Yeah, too deep. Okay, but is it true or not that I started to talk about love and I started to talk about God?
Yeah, you talk away about God and about the sound,
about sound too, right? About that.
It look like you connect with the God. You talk with the God. You need to meditate. You hear sound, someone talking with you, like that.
Yeah. So you view that. Did you see it as I've been started to become crazy?
Yeah, I feel like that.
You felt like that, right? So did you say that to social?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
And they write that in the report too. 2 weeks before this date, do you know or not that I was with my daughter to a psychologist?
Yeah, I know.
And the psychologist said that I'm fully healthy.
Yeah, I know.
And so Liv was aware of that, right?
You know,
My daughter Liv, she knew that because she was with me, and
that
you knew.
time you go, that I just come from hospital.
Yeah.
So
It's very blurry.
I not
Okay.
I not myself, you understand? I just okay, you go. And I
Do
just take
you
care
do
of
you
it.
think I am sick or crazy now today?
No,
No.
no.
There's no sign of me talking about God or sound or stuff today.
Yeah, maybe about God little, but not same before. I can handle that, but before I cannot handle that.
No, it was the change in me was so big. So you didn't recognize your husband, right? You felt, who is that, right?
I think
At that
about
time.
you.
My children probably thought the same, that they didn't see Papa same, right?
Yeah, because you not how the real life and society, this society you lost, you know. That
When
I
you say
realize.
lost, in what way did I lose it? Was it that I changed?
Not under Hansson, who
Not
I
same person,
love.
right?
Yes.
The one that you met. It was a personality change in me,
Yes.
right? So in a way you view that to be a sickness. You see that as sickness, and you describe that as I'll be sick. And so my kids did too, right?
First, I don't understand about sickness or not. I just feel look like you have many things to do, and so you feel look like you cannot handle that. For me, because in Thailand we not say about you depressed.
No, depression not word as a word there, right?
That is new for me, huh? It look like someone say Anano to be autistic or something, HD or something. It look like cannot sit.
Oh, the HDHD.
Yeah. And I think, what is that? Teacher say to me about it, and no, he normal. He's just normal.
Yeah.
He just live life, but to be Thai way that before.
Yeah.
So what you say to my kid about he put something on
So
my
in a way, we can easily look at someone with a different culture or a different mindset from ourselves. That is different from how we are, and we call them sick, right?
Yeah, it looks like if I happy so much, so friendly, they think no, I'm not normal.
Yeah.
I so friendly.
Yeah, yes, because you act and talk about normality. But do you think that is illegal? That should not be allowed?
No, I think they little sick for society about for me.
Yeah,
it
the
look
Swedish
like,
society, or?
Yeah, little. It's same. I go to practice in elder bonnet.
Yeah.
And I really respect older people.
Yeah.
And I care them. I don't want to hear them say or sad or I want to know what is that. I really cry in the heart when I see them cry or sad. I hurt too.
Yeah.
That is a for feeling, but I don't know them. But I feel look like I respect them.
Okay.
And my colleague say
So we don't go off the topic, so to speak. We can talk about that.
Okay.
We lived in Malmbäck. Eventually, did you escape from social? Would you call it an escape? That you escaped back to me, right?
Yes.
And we found living together in Malmbäck and lived there together until now. And now we live in Gothenburg, right?
Yeah.
So, from when I met you until this moment, have I ever used you for money?
I not have money to you.
No, I mean, who is the one that take care of economy today?
Me.
You do, right?
Yes.
Who took care of the economy before? And when I say take care of it, it's just about managing, right? We share everything, don't we? Do we share everything? Or do you say, this is mine and this is yours? No, we share everything, right?
I not think we have only...
What I'm saying, money has never been a thing for us.
No.
We have always talked about what we're gonna buy and what is good, and it never been like, she's rich, so I take money from her. Are you rich?
No, but in Thailand, I feel look like I earn money for myself, for
Yeah.
buy the house, for buy
Would you say
car.
middle class Thai?
Yes.
Middle class
Yes,
Thai, right?
I
Yeah.
not look like I go to government or please help me, give me money. No,
No.
I never do.
No.
I just go to work, hunting, working,
Yeah.
and get money.
But have I seen you as a wallet that I can make money from you?
No, I not have any left money there.
No.
When I miss you,
It's okay.
I only.
So have I ever said like, if you do this, you get money?
No.
I'm not that person, right?
No.
So the last thing about that they write about, that social write about me, is that I use you sexually. That I have I ever forced you to have sex?
No.
Never.
I think they did for me, I think about, we talk about sex. I understand about you want to know about what did happen for me, nothing for think about that.
No, I mean that for me too. For me, you can imagine the shock when someone comes
It
and
look
take.
like women want to eat, want to sleep, want to have sex. So only that, not think about you forced me because you will get 1,000 because I not sell my body.
No,
You
exactly.
understand?
It's just
I don't want
silly,
to.
right?
Yeah, I feel no. You can ask about lady from Pattaya come Thailand and they sell body in Pattaya. But for me, no.
You are not
No.
not at all.
I'm
same,
not a go-go
no,
lady.
Exactly.
No.
My point, right?
I go to work.
So our relationship hasn't been based on that kind of transaction in regards to the way I see it. When I met you, we fell in love, we had kids together,
Yeah.
we married,
Yeah.
and we tried to build a life. But it was very hard for you to integrate into that in the context we lived in Sweden.
Yes.
And in total, that led to that whatever happened 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Are you happy today?
Yeah, very happy. I love Sweden and I think about it. This is my land for me. I not think
You a
about.
Swedish citizen?
Yes.
Do you speak Swedish?
Yeah, a little bit.
Have I been helpful in getting you to learn Swedish?
I think all the time.
Did you speak English when I met you?
Yeah, but very poor English for me. If you compare now, Sutisa Hansson,
Yeah.
I think this so different because in Thailand I not meet much foreigner for talk English or something. I only go to school and school it teacher to be Thai, to the accent or something it's so different. But now we communicate English, Svenska, no problem for me. So I think I learn a lot here, and I love life here. I feel everything good for me and my kids to go up here. Yeah.
I think then we have talked about everything that should be said, I think.
Yeah, I want to say, look, like if you say about my life, yeah, I not compete about, I still not have job to work here, but it will become.
No, but that is something that comes with time. That goes
Yeah,
for everyone,
yeah.
right? The
Maybe
question
I-
here is more about like, we say like this: since this happened to me, have I been looking for work?
Yes, you do.
Have I got work?
Yeah, you get to call to get work, but they not accept.
They not allow me to work,
Yeah.
right? Or
This so
like
sad
we
for
take
them.
example for 3 weeks ago when I got the top position and signed a contract to work with the profession that I am schooled in and experienced in,
Yeah.
with the top salary. Is it true or not?
Yes,
And-
and I think about you to be the person for building family to come back to situation we ever been,
Yeah.
and
But take that as an example. What happened then? Is it true or not that just 3 days later they call and cancel the contract because of what they have found out about what have happened to me, and the financial situation where social is asking me to pay money for my kids where I say I will not pay this money because they have taken my kids based on completely insane and untrue lies.
You know, for me, I really don't know exactly what it happened about it, about community why cancel you. But I can feel look like because badly about it, and they not feel safe if they hire you to work because you work about the security. Yeah, that
So would you say that what happened 3 years ago it kind of renders it very hard for me to get a job? Would you say yes or no to that, or maybe?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah, and we live in Malabek too.
Yeah, it was very hard to get job there, but eventually I have been looking for work and still do, right?
We did everything in the social, say what we need to do for get help from them. So we try very hard to do. It's same me too. I go to school, I study hard for learn to get a job.
You said in the beginning I'm a very good papa. What makes a good papa for you?
I mean, but we not have we not fighting.
Do I care about my children? If something,
absolutely.
Have you ever seen that I not give my child what they need, or what food they need, or anything? Have you ever seen when we live together with all 7 of us?
Yeah, you will do that. But
Did we have food then? Back then?
Yeah, we have food.
We had got good
But I mean
food,
about
right?
you do before. When you change, you not do. That is big difference. When you change and you not do, so
Do
they
what?
see.
Do what?
Do about is the before you cooking every day.
Yeah.
Cooking for everyone in family.
Yeah.
And after that, you stop to cooking.
Did I really stop, or what, did I just like did it less and ask my
You
kids to do
change
themselves
to
a
eat
little
a
bit?
weekend.
Hmm?
You change to eat weekend.
Yeah, I became vegetarian, right?
Yeah.
So I cooked my food,
Yes.
and then it became those of you other in the family. You
Cook
ate
what
different,
you
so you.
want to eat, and keep cooking.
But
what they
the
want
question
to
is
eat.
more like this: did I ever refuse? Have I ever refused you to eat? Say you're not allowed to eat.
No, you not mind about I cooking.
Have
Thai
I done
food.
that with my kids ever?
No, only your kids will have problem when I cooking Thai food and they don't like and they try to. No, I not have food to eat because I cook Thai food.
Yeah.
That is a little.
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
but that's an integration, right? It's hard to make cultures work together, so to speak. Today, how do we do with food today? I mean, I eat vegetarian and you cook Thai food,
Yeah.
and sometimes I eat Thai food and when it's vegetarian, right? At
Yeah,
times.
but I mean about I not cook really Thai food. I cook look like mix Swedish Thai. You understand what I can eat that, but not feel look like it so different for the culture. No, you not eat meat. I love eat meat. I cook what I want to eat, and what a kid want to eat. It look like Halloween want to eat weekend with you this day, so you cook for him too.
Do you know emotions, Suti, that we have? Like we can be happy, we can be angry. Who of us, me and you, are emotionally driven? You are the emotionally driven one. What would you say I am driven of? More thinking, right?
You more look like lung.
Lung.
Yeah.
Like collected and calm.
Yeah,
Would you
you
say
look
that
like-
that's how I am?
You look like if I say about this gadget, I to be fire, and you to be water.
Yeah,
You
that's a
understand?
very very good description actually.
But you not to be wind. If wind,
No.
it will burn. You understand?
It's
So-
not about. Do you think we compete? You and me? No, we don't.
Never.
Never. But we end with that. I think it's pretty clear, isn't it?
All right. Kommer precis från Östra sjukhusets psykiatriska avdelning. Suttit där i Ja. Sen klockan 5 och nu klockan 12:30. Så var det några timmars väntetid. Så bra många timmar med psykolog. 2 inblandade. Fullt frisk. Vad gör man liksom? You have been looking at episode 5 of UPL #Nisa. It might appear to you as if I counterstrike or work to defend my own innocence. But all I do at the surface is to deliver truth from a social perspective. However, my purpose is far grander. Because behind any surface, existential questions dwell. I mean, it would fall natural to you to ask yourself 2 things. Is it okay to choose not to participate in a circus? And is it okay to change as a person? I mean, we all change as we live life, isn't it? And if there is a change in you where you turn into a state of equilibrium, a state of absolute balance, a point at your maturity curve where you can oversee the confusion of children. A level where you can go to 2 people that have a grudge between them and manage to meddle in between. Because maturity is a ladder. And as you climb this ladder, you will eventually reach a point that is absolute. You will come to see that there is no good or bad. There is no right and wrong. There is only what works and not. So, from a social perspective in this episode, I am asking you, is it working for you or not? I mean, be honest, is it working? Is this working? Is it working for you? Is it working that a government unit and their implementation of the law falls out in this way? In a way where people in power fail to see what is what, resulting in the complete demolition of a family built with the most loving of intentions. You see, I haven't heard anything and not seen my children in 4 years' time. So in this episode, I am also asking you, is it working that social services takes liberty to destroy evidence and fabricate truth? Simply because you choose not to participate and be part of a fight between children, as you know there can be no winner? Is it working that unless you live life the way your neighbor wants you to live, you are no longer fit to, as a parent to your kids? Is it working that if you work to integrate foreign cultures and bridge the gaps that are currently present in the global consciousness, that your life partner and mutual newborn son are taken away from you, put into government custody and put in inhumane living conditions, in having to spend months in a way too cold apartment in the middle of the winter with nothing in their beds except paper blankets? I mean, is it working for you? I am asking. Is all the borders that we inherently and currently are maintaining, and that we all navigate in between, carrying the cost of such maintenance? Are these walls worth the limited idea of freedom and safety that you have? You need to understand this, okay? Upl is a ladder. It's a ladder that presents existential questions to you. And it is a ladder that allows you to climb. Once you reach high enough on this ladder, you will come to a mirror and say, you will clearly see how I am you. And this is also the moment of realization. I want you to understand this. I know how I am you. And since I know this, I also know 100% what to do about it. So how is what I am doing working for you? I mean, you don't need to answer me. I mean, I know it already. Just ask yourself and be honest. Are you in heaven? Living life exuberantly, ecstatically, celebrating every single second? Or are you not?
Nu ska vi se.
Du är Jessica eller?
Nej, jag är Katrin. Jessica har vi här.
Ja,
Jag som
hej.
Jessica.
Hej Jessica.
Hej.
Hej.
Välkommen.
Så.
Katrin.
Kjellberg.
Okej.
ska
Jag har inte
vi
träffat dig tidigare tror jag.
Nej, vi har inte sett innan.
Nej. Vi ska ta och presentera oss lite mer.
Ja.
Så. Då fick vi till mötet till slut. Det var ju...
Ja, 2 månader senare.
Har det tagit ungefär 2 månader från det att du bad om det första gången?
Ja.
Det kanske du har gjort. Så ber vi om ursäkt för det.
Nej, behöver du inte göra. Det är väl den tiden ni har till anläggningen antar jag.
Ja, på chefsnivå så har vi lite längre ledtider och sen så hade du ju en tid som du också avbokade. Men jag vet också att du fick vänta tid då, så att säga. Det är jag som är Jessica Johansson och jag är chef för barn- och ungdomsenheten över de som jobbar med utredningsarbete och relationsvåld och även vårt mottag. Men är inte chef över de som så kallade barnsekreterarna som jobbar med att följa upp de placerade barnen. För jag vet ju att det är nya handläggare, så jag är inte chef för dem. Och Katrin jobbar på vår enhet.
Jobbar som arbetsledare, så då leder och fördelar jag det dagliga arbetet.
Ja, okej.
Ja. Och därför valde jag, när du bad de här tiden, tänkte att det är klokt att det är jag och Katrin som träffar dig. Utifrån att vi jobbar med arbetsledning och ärendehandledning. Och jag tänker syftet idag, du har ju bett om att få träffa oss för du har frågor och synpunkter. Och jag tänker framförallt att vi ska lyssna på dina synpunkter och eventuella klagomål som du har. Så uppfattade jag dig.
Jag vet inte om man ska kalla det klagomål eller
Nej,
inte.
okej. Nej.
Intressant presentation. Den är väldigt formell då, liksom, vad ni har för operativa roller i er verksamhet.
Ja.
Och oavsett vem jag pratar med under dig så att säga, så har jag inte fått svar på mina frågor som jag ställt.
Okej.
Utan det har varit manövreringar, det var mörkningar, satt upp väggar egentligen i alla försök att kunna ta kontakt.
Okej.
Och så har de pekat uppåt mot dig.
Ja, men då får vi väl se vilka frågor jag och Katrin här kan svara tydligt på. Vilka frågor vi får lov att återkomma kring då, tänker jag idag. Ja, för vi...
Har du tagit del av några frågor?
Ja, vissa frågor har jag ju tagit del utav. Ja.
Behöver jag presentera mig förresten?
Vi vet vem du är, men vill du presentera dig så får
Då vill
du
jag
det.
veta, vem är jag?
Ja, jag vet ju att du heter Anders Hansson och du är far till barn som vi har haft aktuella här. Och du har ju varit part, eller är ju part i de barnen och i den LVU-process som var.
Nej, det är jag det.
Formellt så blir det svaret och det är bättre att du berättar för oss vad du tycker är viktigt att vi vet då.
Men jag ser också tagit del av utredningsunderlag så att säga, som då gäller SUTISA och även LVU-processerna och sånt.
Ja.
Så har du ju en ganska tydlig bild på vem jag är.
Jag har givetvis läst, jag har ju varit med och skrivit på LVU-utredningarna, så jag har ju läst utredningarna och gått igenom dem, absolut.
Så då har du ju en ganska tydlig bild på vem du tycker att jag är.
Ja, som sagt, du har tagit del i de bedömningarna som är gjorda, men
skrivit
jag
under
känner
dem.
ju inte dig.
Nej, men du har ju... Va?
Nej, det gör ju inte jag, utan
Det
det är ju
gör-
handläggarna som har träffat dig och bedömt situationen, och jag har tagit del av bedömningarna och står bakom dem.
Ja, och varför står du bakom dem? Du tycker att du är kvalificerad personal.
Absolut.
Har du anställt dem själv?
Ja. Men Anders, vad är det du vill komma?
Nej, jag vill höra på vilket sätt, hur kommer det sig att jag som familjefar för en 5-barnsfamilj med en thailändsk fru här, har bott i Göteborg sedan 95, bedriver verksamhet på chefsnivå som du säger. Hur kommer det sig att dina arbetare kan komma in och göra sin bedömning utifrån tomma luften, ogrundat, helt sakligt, lägga egna diagnoser och som leder fram till att mina barn tas ifrån mig och att min frus göms från mig i 6 månaders tid tillsammans med min son utan att ha pratat med mig? Hur kommer det sig? Berätta.
Utan att ha pratat med mig?
Utan att prata med mig. Jag har inte yttrat ett ord i hela utredningen. Inte ett ord till en enda socialsekreterare fram tills för 2 veckor sedan. 3 veckor sedan när de var till mig i Jönköping. Kan du tala om det för mig? Hur är det möjligt?
Jag tror att jag kan tala om det för dig. För under LVU-processen, efter att vi var ju hemma hos dig tillsammans med... Vi var ju ett par, till och med 3 socialsekreterare hemma hos dig. Så därför
Men jag gjorde det väldigt klart för dem att jag deltar inte i er sociala orosutredning. Jag ser inte den problembilden som ni målar upp. Det gjorde jag väldigt klart och står utanför det. Så formellt och informellt så var inte jag med i den utredningen.
Och där ger du faktiskt lite svaret själv, därför att våran oro för barnen fanns kvar fast att du inte ville delta.
Ja, och då undrar jag så här, vad var det för oro ni hade för barnen?
Du har läst utredningen, va?
Då ska vi gå igenom de punkterna. Och så ska vi se, är den grundad eller ogrundad?
Vi avser, Anders, inte gå igenom alla punkter med dig utifrån att det finns en utredning, den har varit i
så då kan vi ändå säga så här, då står ni bakom den utredningen och tycker att den var bra och korrekt utförd.
Den var utförd på det sätt enligt våra rutiner och det som liksom de nationella riktlinjerna handhar. Ja, okay. Utifrån den förutsättningen hade vi ett önskemål om att prata mer med dig.
Då kan jag fråga så här, hur kommer det sig att i den här utredningen, så på 44 ställen i vad gäller SUTISAs utredning, och det är bara utanför mina barn, så diagnostiserar ni mig som psykotisk, psykiskt instabil, psykiskt sjuk. Jag vet inte hur många olika medicinska termer ni använder på mig. Trots att ni känner till att jag var 3 dagar innan ni kom in till mig och tog mina barn ifrån mig. Så var jag hos en psykolog och satt i 2 timmar med psykologen som deklarerade mig på papper psykiskt frisk. Hur kommer det sig?
Och vi har ju lagt
Är det era rutiner?
På hur konsekvenserna, hur dina barn har haft det och hur det har fungerat i
Nej,
föräldrafrågan.
det är inte...
där vi har lagt tyngdpunkten, skulle jag säga.
Skulle du vilja säga det?
Ja.
Ja, ska vi ta fram LVU-rapporten och läsa den då? Ska vi se var tyngdpunkterna ligger?
Och det är ju också
I den här
förhandlingen.
här är förresten...
Jag var i rätten.
Ja.
Då var ju inte du med.
Nej, för jag ställde mig utanför allting.
Ja.
Jag sa så här, jag tar inte del av det här.
Nej.
Alls. Och jag har rätt att göra det.
Ja,
jag har
men
rätt
då
att
är du
förlita
inte
mig.
heller delaktig.
Jag har rätt att förlita mig på att samhället gör sitt jobb. Eller hur? Och då tycker ni att ni har gjort ett jobb. Och det här, så resultatet vad vi har nu, det är en familj som var till 90% bra. I min bedömning. Och i många andras bedömning. Hur många personer, sakkunniga, har ni pratat med? Ni har pratat med min mor som har träffat vår familj 1 gång på 3 år. Det är en sakkunnig. Ni har pratat med Lena som aldrig har träffat vår familj. Och då menar jag aldrig.
Men det underlaget bygger ju inte på de kontakterna.
Nej.
Enbart med dina släktingar.
Utan då...
Det bygger ju på samtal med dina barn, samtal med skola,
Precis.
samtal med sjukvårdskontakter.
Ja.
Och sen har ju LVU-frågan prövats i domstol. Det är ju så det svenska förfarandet
Jo, men
går till.
jag förstår det. Men ni driver det ju fram till domstol, eller hur? Bara om man kollar på LVU-rapporten så ser man ju hur varje stycke i LVU-rapporten så har ni dragit ut från de samtalen jag pratat med mina barn, med min fru, med min mamma och med Lena. Så har ni dragit ut ur sitt sammanhang och skrivit ner det som låter elakt. När jag pratar med Sutesa så säger han, nej men det här har de tagit, det här har de mixat, det här har de har tagit och de har mixat. Ni har drivit pulsen i att måla ut mig som ett monster. Varför?
Här har vi ju olika uppfattningar.
Ja, men vi kan ta några punktexempel. Där det står till exempel att jag förnedrar min fru. Ni har skrivit att jag ekonomiskt utnyttjar min fru. Hur kan man tänka om man tror det? Hur många miljoner har jag spenderat från min inkomst till våran familj? Och hur många miljoner har hon spenderat in till våran familj? Hur kan en person som tjänar 1 miljon per år inte spara någonting utan lägger allting på familjen? Hur kan han ekonomiskt utnyttja en annan? Förklara det för mig.
Det vi kan prata mycket om, tänker det är dina barns behov. Och vi såg att de fick inte
Bra, då säger du att jag är otillräcklig.
Ja,
och då undrar jag så här, vad är tillräckligt? Vad är tillräckligt? Är det när barnen säger, ja, nu är det tillräckligt? Om de ska till McDonalds och vill ha en McDonalds och du säger nej, är du tillräcklig då? Eller hur? Det här blir ganska gråzoner. Och då undrar jag så här, vem har rätten till att tala om hur mina barn ska uppfostras? Om det är rätt att man ska ha ett eget rum eller inte.
Precis.
Och så säger jag så här, då säger vi så här, vi börjar med sakkunniga. Det är min mamma, det är Lena, det är mina barn, Vilgot. Han är totalt driven och styrd av er i att säga vad han ska säga. Och ni har dragit ut vad han har sagt och dragit ner det på pappret för att styrka en monsterbild. Tuva, hon ringer 2-3 veckor efteråt. Helt förkrossad. Undrar vad det är som har hänt. Liv, förstår jag. Hon har varit psykiskt instabil och gått på BUP i 7 års tid. Hon har ni lyssnat på. Hon har lyssnat på Sutesa som befann sig i en integrationskris. Så att 3 veckor innan hon kom till er överhuvudtaget så hade hon tagit självmord framför barnen. Och det är mitt fel. Säger ni. Eller hur? Någonstans så har jag... Men det här får ni reda ut. Och hur har ni rätt ut det? Ni har inte varit ute för att kolla hur kan vi göra det bra för den här familjen? Vilket stöd behöver hon? Nej, det är bara... Han är ett monster. På med alla jävla klyschroller som finns när det handlar om att utnyttja thailändsker. Och så kör vi på.
Som sagt, vi delar ju inte riktigt din bild, men det
Ja,
stämmer.
men tala om vad er bild är. För mig är det helt ofattbart hur det här kan hända.
Nej,
och för många andra också.
Det vi såg var att du hade 3 barn som får illa.
På vilket sätt? På vilket sätt? Du menar så här, frånvaron på skolan på Tuva, det var ett av argumenten som jag hade. Frånvaron på skolan på Tuva var ju hur låg som helst i förhållande till hur den är nu. Varenda dag. Så har du inte, hon har blivit mobbad i skolan helt plötsligt. Aldrig varit mobbad förut. Eller
Man
hur?
gör ju alltid en sammantagen
På vilket
bedömning.
sätt har det här beslutet och det som det här har lett till, på vilket sätt har det hjälpt min familj? Kan du tala om det för mig? Och så kan ni tycka att ni har gjort ett bra jobb. Jag fattar inte. Det är inte synd om mig för 5 öre. Det är synd om mina barn. Det är deras liv ni har sabbat. Men ni tror att ni gör ett bra jobb. Men vad ni gör är ni sågar ju barnens fötter. Liksom. Ser ni inte det själv?
Det är inte den bedömningen vi har gjort.
Nej.
Utan vi har gjort bedömningen att de här barnen har farit illa hemma.
På vilket
och
sätt?
de behöver bo någon annanstans.
På vilket sätt?
Vi har lyft frågan till rätten som har fattat beslut i frågan.
Ja, men
Sen har du valt att inte delta i det. Och
då måste man ju gå så här. Ni har ju gjort en bedömning och den bedömningen har ju ni då baserat på olika saker, eller hur? Det finns ju...
Vi gör ju, förstår jag när vi pratar med dig här, och det har vi förstått tidigare, att vi har ju gjort helt olika bedömningar.
Vad är det för bedömning du har gjort?
Ja, det är ju den bedömningen som du har att läsa.
Ja, och det är den här bedömningen jag säger, så vi har olika, så vi har ingenting att prata om då.
Och i det som även domstolen har tagit ställning i.
Ja, men de har ju tagit ställning till ett underlag som ni har satt ihop, som är fabricerat.
Normalt, många gånger så har ju föräldrar träffat advokaten. Man lyfter alla sina synpunkter på materialet i domstolen.
Ja.
Och sedan prövas ju det i förvaltningsrätt.
Ja.
Och är man då...
Men om inte jag är normal då? Om inte jag är normal då?
Nej, du har ju valt att göra på ett annat sätt.
Ja, om jag inte är normal då?
Nej.
Då är man inte okej
Du
då?
har ju skrivit till mig också att du håller på och filar på att skicka till IVO. För
Ja,
det tänker jag ju
absolut.
är rätt instans. Om du vill få vårt underlag och vår
Jag håller
hantering...
inte på att fila, jag har redan kontakt med dem.
Vad bra.
Men
Ja.
lyssna. Det är inte, i det hela underlaget som du säger att de här som kan, sakkunniga domarna som klubbar igenom det här, som du säger du förlitar dig helt på.
Ja, det är ju de som har mandat.
Det är de som har mandat.
Du säger ju
Men vad gör-
sakkunniga här, Anders. Och det tror jag vi menar olika
Nej,
saker.
sakkunniga vet jag. Det är för de som bidrar till underlaget. Men sakkunniga på en juridisk nivå.
Ja, det är ju domstolen.
Det är
absolut.
domstolen, precis. Så båda är sakkunniga. Så vad menar du?
Men för du frågar mig vilka sakkunniga, men domstolen är ju rätt instans för att ta ställning
Ja.
för kring...
Men du
finns det
förstår
underlag för
själv
LVU
att de
vård?
tar ju beslut på det underlag som presenteras. Och då undrar jag så här, är underlagen som ni presenterar opartisk, skildrar verkligheten, sanningsenliga, eller är de eran egen opinion? Är det eran egen syn på hur människan och mansroller ska vara?
Det är ju vårat professionella underlag, skulle jag säga.
Är det ett professionellt underlag, tycker du?
Ja, det tycker jag.
Hur kommer det sig då att ni deklarerar mig som psykiskt instabil, psykiskt sjuk och psykotisk? Ja, det är professionellt. Dessutom har vad ni säger och vad ni har sagt smittat av sig till andra enheter som inte har med er kommun. Så att när de ringer er och frågar, då gör de en bedömning utifrån ert utlåtande och så formulerar och får det till sin grej som talar om vem jag är. Så eran otroligt värdelöst oprofessionella sätt att skildra en verklighet har totalt demolerat min familj, mig, mitt rykte, mina förutsättningar till framtida inkomster, min pension, precis rabb och stubb. Och du sitter och säger att ni har gjort ett professionellt jobb.
Utifrån det perspektivet, klart vi förstår att det här har fått stora konsekvenser för dig.
Men,
Absolut.
nej, men gör du det? Hur?
Men det gör
På vilket
vi.
sätt?
Precis i det du berättade här.
Men på vilket sätt? Jag säger att det har fått konsekvenser, men på vilket sätt?
Det är ju du som vet det bäst, men du beskrev ju precis här på olika sätt.
Men
det
du sa att du
konsekvenser.
förstår det. På vilket sätt förstår du det? Alltså du sätter ju bara säger och har ett försvarstal. Du måste ju kunna härleda det du säger till någonting som makes sense. Det måste ju finnas någonting. Om jag säger till dig så här. Här har ni skrivit att jag är psykotisk. Ni har deklarerat och ni säger inte att ni tror det. Eller att ni känner det. Ni säger att Anders är det. Och ni lämnar in det till ett underlag på LVU. Hur är det liksom? Det står ingenting om att alltså det finns ju ingenstans på varje sida. Ingenstans. Och då menar jag alla papper. Som någonting lyfter fram någonting där jag faktiskt har bidragit till ett värde. Under 17 års tid där jag fått fram en familj. Där jag byggt och tagit en tjej till Thailand med hennes barn. Det finns ju ingenting. Inte ett ord. Hur förklarar du det?
blir ju så när man läser det, kan jag också tänka när man läser det, för vi behöver ju, för att vi ska ta en fråga.
Du menar så här att ni har ju hela bilden, men ni lägger fram bara det skrotkornen, eller?
På socialtjänsten så jobbar vi ju med barn som far illa, och när vi tar del av den informationen så det är klart att det är det som hamnar i underlaget. Det är ju inte så konstigt, för det är på de grunderna som vi har.
Ja, men det ger ju inte en bild som är korrekt.
Nej, och det är, vi tycker fortfarande att det är tråkigt. Du ville inte bidra. Du valde att ställa dig utanför. Du hade fått
det handlar inte om det om jag ville eller inte. Det handlar om vad som var rätt och fel att göra. Vi gör det som krävs att göras. I det här fallet så för mig så stod jag i ett läge där jag hade en konflikt i en familj. Och hade ni bara brytt er om att göra ett bra jobb för samhället, då hade ni sett, oj, här har vi en familj, det är konflikt mellan 2 av barnen och den nya frun i huset. Till den grad där hon beter sig orationellt och de beter sig orationellt. Där hade ni kunnat medla, där hade ni kunnat jobbat. Men istället så svartmålar ni mig.
Ja, men det prövade vi ju initialt. Vi hade ju en ganska lång kontakt med er innan vi omhändertog dina barn.
Nej.
Där vi försökte, men du ville inte prata med oss.
Jag var inte med på det spåret. Det var ett spår som ni körde. Men jag säger att ni har kört tåget in i väggen. Jag satt inte på tåget. Ni har kört och satt på tåget. Förstår du vad jag menar? Så någonstans, jag kan ta ansvar för att jag ställde mig utanför. Men ni kommer få ta ansvar för att ni har kört tåget i väggen. Och det kommer ni få svara för mig, men även för mina barn. Någon gång i tiden så kommer de säkert ifrågasätta det. För de vet vem jag är.
Barnen syftar du på?
Barnen menar jag på.
Ja.
Sen undrar jag så här. Hur indoktrinerar ni mina barn? Under den tiden de är här. Vad är det för bilder ni målar till dem? På samma sätt som ni bearbetar min fru. Under den tiden ni höll henne borta från mig i 6 månaders tid. Helt utan grund också. Helt utan grund. Hur kommer det sig? Kan vem som helst komma, vara deprimerad, grovt deprimerad över livet, söka efter hjälp, spärrar vägen, så när jag ringer och undrar vart hon har tagit vägen, hon får inte prata om, nej, då vet inte du. Total vägg. Jag har inte fått reda på min son här, inte vart hon har befunnit sig, ingenting när jag har pratat med henne. Och sen så sitter hon på skyddat boende och är livrädd för er, fast hon har ett förhållande med mig i 5 månaders tid. Och jag kan inte komma dit, för då blir hon vräkt. Och jag har ingen möjlighet att kunna ta henne därifrån, för jag har ingen boende kvar. Så vad är poängen? Och hon då, från att ha varit en liten konflikt i familjen, står vi i en situation där jag har en son med Sutisa, då, som är min fru. Och så har jag 3 barn sedan tidigare, där hela min grej har varit om att få ihop det här och se det sköna i livet och uppskatta och vara med varandra. Det har varit min drivkraft. Det var jag som höll ihop det. När jag ställde mig så här, då flög det iväg. Så det är inte mitt val där heller. Så där är mitt ansvar. Jag var tyst. Men nu, Sutisa hatar mina barn. Vill inte att de ska finnas till. Vill inte ens att jag ska tala om för Alvin att mina andra 3 barn finns. Det är också en så här följdeffekt av det här. Vem tar ansvar för det då? Alltså, för ni förstår ju inte vad konsekvenserna är när ni agerar på det sättet som är. När ni inte ens bryr er om och kolla, är det sant det de säger? Kan det vara så att de säger så för att hon inte mår bra?
Det är klart att vi har värderat det alla har sagt. Vi har värderat det dina barn har sagt. Och vi har värderat det Sutisa har sagt. Ja. Och vi har värderat det du
så
har sagt.
Så pass att ni tar och kidnappar min son tillsammans med henne. Och skyddar henne. Och så sitter ni och ljuger och att ni inte vet vart hon är. Ja, eller vart min son är. Alltså, hur agerar ni?
Om, men det finns ju olika saker som styr vilka uppgifter vi kan lämna ut.
Ingen missbruk. Inget våld överhuvudtaget. Fanns inte någonting som talar på misskötsel. I det stora hela, hade jag varit en missbrukare eller hade hotat någon med kniv eller brukat våld eller slagit någon, ja, då kan jag tycka att det finns någonting att äta på i det här. Men det finns inte ett spår av det. Vad det här handlar om, det här handlar om att jag var spirituell. Jag förstod att det finns glädje i livet och man kan hitta det på ett visst sätt. Och ville förmedla det till mina barn. I en stund där det var konflikter i familjen. Och då kommer ni in. På orosanmälningar som kommer ifrån att min äldsta dotter gick till hennes BUP-sekreterare och hävde ur sig sin oro över livet. Och oro över pappa. Som hade blivit spirituell. Så att hon lägger orosanmälningar. Och orosanmälningar från min fru. Som inte alls mår bra. För hon känner inte att hon trivs i familjen. Det stödjer ni. Det tycker ni är bra.
Vi fick ju in
Är det så att två stycken flyttar ihop och det är 2 barn från varje och den ena inte gillar den andra, då tar vi bort de andra barnen. Det är det ni har stött. Och varför? Jo, för att du litar på dina oprofessionella sekreterare som ska göra den här bedömningen så att du kan skriva under.
För att förtydliga det, Anders, har ju inte de själva, de socialsekreterarna som utredde dina barn,
Ni
har ju
får...
inte gjort detta på egen hand. Utan där har jag och Katrin funnits med.
Ja, okay.
Och tagit del av dokumentationen av vad som har blivit sagt i möten. Vi har funnits med i denna resa.
Men då ska vi göra så här. Kolla här. Jag sa så här, ni får innan vi körde igång det här, då sa vi, ni får prata med mina barn under förutsättningen att det spelas in. Och det har ni också vänt i de här utredningarna. Som att jag har liksom en hållhake på mina barn. Att de ska hållas och sägas vissa saker. Hallå? Det är för att ni ska sköta ert jobb. Och de inspelningarna, varenda en vill jag ha. Och det har jag rätt att få. Och har ni inte spelat in det, då har ni brutit totalt mot lojaliteten oss emellan, vad vi kommer överens om. När det handlar om hur vi ska prata med föra dialogen. Finns de inspelningarna? I så fall vill jag ha dem.
De finns väl transkriberade, skulle jag säga. Vi får undersöka saken exakt vad vi har dem.
Men de finns. Jag vet att mötena spelades in. De kom och frågade hur vi skulle göra.
Väldigt svårt att tro att de är transkriberade.
Det är de också.
Så ni transkriberar en inspelning? Till vilket nöje då? Vilken kostnad då?
Journalanteckning.
Det är samma sak som det här pappret, vad man tycker. Det är ju ett subjekt. Det är inte inspelningen i sig. Det var inte alls det vi kom överens om. Så det innebär det att det är mörkat. Hur ni har fört dialogen med mina barn.
Men sa ju här att vi har inspelningarna.
Jag vet att de spelades in. För
de
frågade mig, går det bra att vi spelar in? Nej, men så det går bra att spela in dem, tappar vi det. Det är du som var. Så att de ska finnas.
Så då är det ytterligare tecken på att mina barn hade ingenting att dölja i det sammanhanget. Men då kan vi lyssna på dem. Och så ska jag försöka bygga min bedömning hur ni har bedömt det. Då blir det ett ganska stort fint kontrast mellan vad som skrivs och vad som sägs. Jag tror det är ganska bra och tydligt och bra för oss båda parter i det här framöver. För det här är inte slut för 5 öre. Jag står vidare här så kommer jag se era tåg krascha rakt in i väggen. Helt obegripligt hur ni har tagit fragment, svartat ner fragmenten och sen satt ner dem. När jag pratar med min mor och vad hon har sagt så sa hon, nej men det har jag inte sagt, det där har de tagit och vridit. Pratar jag med Sutis så skyller hon och säger nej, det där har de mixat. Ja men de vill tro som de vill, säger hon. Det där så har jag inte sagt och det har de sagt och tagit annat sammanhang. Alltså någonstans här, om jag pratar med alla dem, är de rädda för mig då?
Det kan ju inte vi svara på. Jag tänker att det är jätteklokt att du har kontaktat IVO, att vi får liksom en opartisk bedömning av vårt sätt att handlägga våran dokumentation. Där de tittar på dina synpunkter och tittar på vårt arbete. Det är väl väldigt bra så vi får det bedömt ordentligt.
Ja, självklart kommer det ske.
Ja.
Såklart, men jag skulle vilja ha er uppfattning om det. Men du säger att du har gjort er uppfattning och uppfattningen finns här. Och du står vid den. Och då när jag ställer frågorna så sitter ni helt tyst och ni kan inte svara på någonting av det.
Du ville träffa oss och det var viktigt. Vi började till mötes i att träffa och lyssna på dina synpunkter. Sen hamnar vi ju i det här att vi tänker olika. Att inte vi avser gå in i varje detaljfråga. Det här är, för det är prövat i rätten.
Men ni säger ju att ni gick in och tog barnen från mig för barnen får illa.
Ja, det är en bedömning, absolut.
Ja, och fara illa i det här läget då, på vilket sätt? De hade mat för dagen. Inte bara dålig mat, de hade jävligt bra mat skulle jag säga. Förmodligen 10 000 i månaden då jag på matkassar till familjen. De hade bra utbildning. Det vill säga de hade en pappa som fanns där och gjorde läxor, lärde dem laga mat, lärde dem städa, lärde dem tvätta, lärde dem göra. Är det bra eller dåligt? Vart är balansen här? Ska ni tala om hur man ska uppfostra barn?
Men det har ju domstolen tagit ställning till.
Nej, men
vad som är bristerna.
domstolen har ju tagit ställning till det som skrivs. Och det som skrivs är ju helt nedsvärtat. Varför det är nedsvärtat är ju baserat på ert temperament och hur ni bedömer situationen när ni skriver det. Eller hur? Eller menar du att du har bara suttit och skrivit rakt ner och vad som sägs i luften och sen har de läst igenom allting och gjort sin bedömning? Så är det ju inte. Det de läser är ju eran bedömning.
Absolut.
Ja, och då undrar jag så här, den bedömningen, ni säger att mina barn får illa. Ja. På vilket sätt får de illa? Och då säger du tillbaks till pappret. Och då säger jag så här, men då refererar vi till pappret. Nej men, liksom, ska vi göra det eller inte?
Men vi kommer inte i det här rummet, Anders, pröva frågan.
Nej, det förstår väl jag också.
Ja, precis.
Ja, men jag vill ju höra er åsikt så jag får en uppfattning.
Min åsikt är att det här underlaget är tillräckligt korrekt. Vi hade en önskan om att prata mer med dig under processen och att du hade funnits med i domstolsprocessen.
Vad är det som är korrekt i det? Säg någonting som är korrekt i det. Kan du göra det? Bara en sak.
De bristerna som sen också domstolen, det var olika brister. Det handlade om
men
vårdbehov.
domstolen tar ju klubbar igenom då det som ni lägger fram. Min försvarsadvokat hade ju ingenting att komma fram med på bordet, eller hur? Om du hade barn som tog sig från dig, som var en missnöjd situation i familjen på grund av att jag hade en fru, inte på grund av mig, möjligtvis på grund av mig också min personlighetsförändring. Men man måste kunna förändra som person, eller? Får man inte göra det? Man måste vara exakt samma person hela tiden. Samma personlighet. Det finns ingen logik i det. Det finns ingenting farligt att ändra som person. Om man inte blir våldsam. Fanns ingen våld. Om man inte håller på med missbruk eller hot eller några andra sådana saker. Kolla mitt register. Jag är helt klanderfri. Jag har jobbat verksam i Göteborg. Byggt upp företag. Om du går in på LinkedIn och kollar så har jag 500 kontakter över hela Göteborg som jag ändå har liksom mött och jobbat med. Som har en bild om mig. Inte någon har ni pratat med. Inte någon. Ingen av mina kollegor som har drivit företag i 10 års tid med.
Och det gör inte vi, den typen av kontakter tar inte vi.
Nej, men varför då? Ni har inte ens gått in på sociala medier för att kolla hur lever den här familjen.
Vi pratar med den närmaste familjen. Ja. Vi pratar med vårdnadshavare. Med
och den metoden då?
Och barn. Och barnens professionella kontakter.
Är inte det just det som är problemet, Jessica? Är det inte just det problemet är? Det du kallar professionellt är att jobba efter din metod. Medan vad jag säger är oprofessionellt att jobba efter den metoden. Och att en metod borde kunna åtminstone ge klarhet i hur det ligger till.
Och ibland är det så att föräldrar väljer att lyfta in en del vittnen och så i domstolsförhandlingen. Ja. Exempelvis då kollegor eller andra.
Så vad ni säger, ni förlitar på att ni skulle ryka på motstånd. Så ni svartade ner alla papper. Så mycket som, för att föra er talan så mycket. Men så kom det ingen motstånd. Kan det vara så?
Absolut inte. Och domstolen har ju också värderat vårt underlag.
Varför lägger du då fram att i ditt försvartal då, det är det jag säger om att metoderna är bristfälliga. Varför lägger du då fram att föräldrarna brukar göra så?
Du hade kunnat göra det. Det är ett val du och din advokat hade kunnat göra. Ja, när det är kontakter man tycker att det här har ni missat i utredningen.
Ja, jag har inte gjort något fel. Existentiellt sett så anser jag inte i min roll som förälder har missbrukat rollen. Jag anser att jag har kärleken på plats för mina barn. Men sen om vi bedömer vad kärlek är på samma sätt. Det tror jag inte ens ni kommer överens om. Jag anser att det här är mina barn. De var minderåriga allihopa. Deras talan från den äldsta har ni lyssnat på 100%. Och hon var på pappret psykiskt sjuk. Men ni har vänt det till att det är jag som är psykiskt sjuk, psykiskt instabil och psykotisk. Ni har använt argument att jag har stuckit ifrån allting och åkt till Marocko. Vilket var i papperna på LVU ungefär som att jag hade gjort det under tiden jag hade barnen. Så var det ju inte. Jag stod där, ni tog bort allting. Gömde min fru och tog mina barn. Och jag ringde och försökte få reda på vart min fru var och fick nej. Kunde inte prata med mina barn heller. Vilgot och jag, vi låg och läste en bok i sängen dagen när ni kom. Och hade det jättemysigt. Precis som vilken dag som helst. När jag kom och hälsade på han 2 månader senare på skolan stod han stelt som en pinne och såg mig som ett monster. Hur kommer det sig? Han grät när vi separerades.
Men han var rädd för pappa när jag var där. Hur kommer det sig? Hur jobbar ni? Jobbar ni för sammanhållning eller jobbar ni bara för separation enligt era egna spekulationer? Vad känner ni till om min familj? Ingenting. Ingenting, ska jag vilja säga. Ni grundar, ni bygger ni pratar 2-3 timmar med en familjemedlem om hur den mår och hur den har sig. Och det ska vara jäkligt kul att se om hur målande den är av verkligheten som var. Av hur mycket kan en 10-åring, en 13-åring och en 17-åring skildra verkligheten på de 3 timmarnas samtal. Så pass så att ni får en bra bedömning om hur vi lever i vår familj. Och inte bara det, om det är bra. Vem fan avgör om det är bra? Får man leva mångkulturellt i Sverige? Får man lära sina barn att göra frukost själv på morgonen? Får man säga att de ska ta bussen själv när de är 10 år? Blir man av med barnen om man cyklar utan cykelhjälm? Alltså vad är det frågan om?
För att LVU ska finnas grund till. Ja. Och här bedömde vi ju det och domstolen bedömde ju utifrån att det fanns många skäl.
Ja, men det är de jag menar. Du säger att det finns många skäl och jag säger så här, vad baserar du det på?
Du skulle vilja att vi gick igenom vart och ett av de skälen som vi har angett.
Jag skulle vilja att ni gick in, att ni brydde om familjen, såg vart konflikten var, för den var helt glasklar att se. Vad det var för problem i familjen. Istället så när en säger att jag har det sägs inte sexuellt, men det står att jag har förnedrat min fru, utnyttjat henne ekonomiskt, haft henne som slav. Hallå! Hur står det till? Och det skriver du på, för den bedömningen har du gjort. Jag kan säga så här, jämför Schutesa, att interagera i en familj med min förefru som jag levde 20 års tid. Hade jättebra relationer med allihopa. Även med socialtjänsten. Med ett släkt. Under 20 års tid levde jag det och kämpade genom hennes cancerstadie. Inte någon orosanmälan. Hur kommer det sig? Hur kommer det sig? Har ni kollat på det överhuvudtaget? Nej. Ni har ju, vad ni gjort? Ni har suttit och så har ni dikterat och så har ni tänkt, här har vi en kille, han har åkt till Thailand och tagit en tjej och han sexuellt missbrukare och han är typisk manschauvinist och så, hon får 1000 kronor i månaden. Kolla här. Hon fick 1000 kronor i månaden av mig, för hon hade ingen annan inkomst. Det fanns ingen annanstans att få pengar för henne. Då fick hon 1000 kronor i månaden av mig. Det är 12 000 om år. Utöver det så betalar jag alla hennes kläder, hyra, mat, för hennes barn, alla hennes utgifter, alla ansökningar, visa. Jag ska säga säkert 2 miljoner kronor har jag lagt på henne. I resor fram till Thailand. Och då är det jag som utnyttjar henne. Hur tänker ni i det resonemanget? Alltså vilken objektivitet har ni? Och från vilket perspektiv ser ni att så här ska det vara?
Fundera lite, Anders. Det är ju många funderingar du har. Och vi gör ju som sagt väldigt olika bedömningar i det. Vi har försökt göra en objektiv bedömning. Göra en helhetsbedömning.
Vet du vad jag tycker? Helt ärligt. Jag har varit socialdemokrat i hela mitt liv. Ja. Trott på socialismen. Men hela den här resan har gett mig en jävla klarhet. Det är att Sverige, och så som ni agerar, exakt som Nordkorea. Exakt som nationalister. Som säger, vi gör våran bedömning, vi har olika bedömningar. Det enda som skiljer, att ni har inte verktyg att skjuta någon. Men det ni tar till är absolut sådana konsekvenser. Fast ni ser det inte. Det är skillnaden.
Jag tror att det är klokt att låta IBO eller IO eller så titta på detta för att göra då ytterligare en objektiv bedömning.
Ja. Ska vi göra den i Sverige då? Så håller vi oss där till den existentiella formen Sverige. Eller ska vi hålla oss till den universala? Eller ska vi hålla det till det globala? Ska vi jämföra med hur det är i Indien? Jag kan säga, när jag var ute och reste i Indien finns inte en människa som tycker att jag är konstig när jag pratar som jag gör om det existentiella. Ska de sen då stå och döma Sverige? Eller? Kan du hitta människan och hjärtat i det här? Eller går det bara efter kafferummet?
Efter kafferummet?
Ja, det vill säga där ni sitter och pratar och har era egna teorier. För vad ni vet om, det är att ni har haft 3 timmar. Om jag skulle komma in till din familj, sitta och prata med vardagen i 3 timmar, så kan jag också sitta och tycka, eller hur? Och vi kan göra det som ett team. Men det skulle aldrig någonsin komma närheten till hur du lever och har det med ditt barn. Eller hur? Det skulle aldrig kunna göra det. Men du säger att det gör det. Och du gör det på ett sätt där jag målas ut som ett otroligt monster. Ett totalt monster. Helt ogrundat. Jag kan säga varenda grej där det står att hur jag, så som ni målar mig. Det är nästan ofattbart i mina ögon. Jag kan säga, hade jag varit så, fine, ta mina barn och allting. Samhället ska inte ens se mig. Så kan jag säga. Men när jag vet att det är inte så det är, och jag vet också hur dynamiken var, och jag förstår också varför ni ser som ni gör. Så det där, någonstans i den förståelsen, så kan jag också se att fan, ni borde väl om något vara de som är duktiga på objektivitet. Men så är det ju inte i ett socialistiskt Sverige med en socialtjänst som agerar som ni gör. Men ni tycker att ni gjort ett bra jobb. Så förklara för mina barn sen, när de är 18, när de står där de står, när de inte haft den här papparollen, och att de har flyttats på LVUM, och när de blir mobbade i skolan, och när frånvaron ökar och betygen går ner. Stå där och försvara att ni gör det bästa för Sverige.
Och vi är måna om att det blir bra för dina barn, absolut.
På vilket sätt har det blivit bra? Tuva har blivit utsatt och mobbad i skolan till den grad att de ska byta skola. Var det konsekvenser du tror hade funnits kvar om ni inte hade gått in i min familj?
Det är ju jättesvårt att säga. Vi bedömde att det var stora påtagliga risker hemma, det gjorde vi.
Och ni jobbade efter en metod. Så istället för att attackera er bedömning, för den kan inte ändra, ni är den ni är. Så kan vi kolla lite grann på metoden. Eller hur? Och där måste vi kunna där kan vi ha samma bedömning ändå. Om en metod är tillräcklig eller inte.
Jag håller med, jag tror att det blir Ivo som får titta vidare på det. Tiden är ute nu.
Ja.
No, it says kan endast hämtas av mottagare, ej bud.
What mean?
It means that it's only you can pick this out. I cannot pick this out.
If I get COVID.
No, only you. It's kind of privacy, you know. It's for your protection, so to. What do you say about that?
Happy for the security. Yeah, bye. Bye.
Wow, warm baby. So nice, no? You feel in sun here. Feel here. Do like this. No, here. Can you do?
What I do?
You feel that?
See
Light, you know? It not weight much, huh? Does lightweight much? Huh? Hej! Jag tänkte jag skulle nämna några ord om missbruk. Det finns en massa olika typer av missbruk. Man kan missbruka det mesta faktiskt. Maktmissbruk till exempel. Det är en väldigt farlig drog. Det är att när man väl har utövat sin makt och fått som man vill och känner att det går, då är det lätt att fastna i det.